Welcome to the Dunlop Tomahawk GNCC. We're out here for round number 7 of the 2017 AMS Oil GNCC Racing Series presented by Maxxis, an AMA National Championship. We're out here in Odessa, New York to see if the best off-road racers can stop Rockstar Energy factory Husqvarna machine of Thad Duvall from winning another one. Now let's take it down to Rodney Tomlin at the starting line.
We introduce these riders to you in accordance to the top 10 in point standings as we roll into this seventh round of racing. As we get set to go today, first we introduce to you our points leader. He has 5 wins here in the 2017 season, and of course, he is a 4-time GNCC champion. Riding aboard an FMF KTM Factory Racing KTM from Boonville, North Carolina, Caleb Russell. Rolling to the line today, second in points, fresh off his first win in 2017 at the X Factor GNCC just a few short weeks ago. He rides aboard the number 989 from Williamstown, West Virginia, a Rockstar Energy Factory Husqvarna Team Husqvarna, Bad Thad Duvall. Rolling to the line today, third in points. A little under the weather at the X Factor GNCC a few weeks ago. However, he opened up the season with a season-opening win, and until that point, had finished on the podium every single time on a KTM SR KTM, Stu Baylor. Rolling to the line next today, he is fourth in points aboard the number 212 from Duval, Washington. On an Infab Ampro Yamaha, he's rough, he's rowdy, Ricky Russell. Riding aboard the number 4, he ranks 5th heading into this 7th round of racing. From Cookeville, Tennessee, on a Beta USA Beta motorcycle, Jordan Ashburn. Rolling to the line next today, he is 6th in points. He was the winner here 1 year ago at the Tomahawk GNCC. Aboard the 114 from Australia, a former GNCC champion on the Rockstar Energy Husqvarna backed by Bellray, Josh Strang. Rolling to the line next, he is an XC1 Pro Class rookie aboard the number 5, former XC2 champion from Morganton, North Carolina on a JCR Honda, Trevor Bollinger. Rolling to the line 8th today, he rides aboard the number 314 from Belton, South Carolina on a Rocky Mountain ATV-MC KR4 Husqvarna, Grant Baylor. Rolling to the line next today, 9th. He's the 984 from Hebron, Indiana. He was the inaugural bike champion here at the Tomahawk GNCC 2 years ago on an RPM KTM, Chris Bach. Rolling to the line next, he is a 5-time National Enduro champion. Aboard the 113 from Jefferson, Georgia on an FMF KTM Factory Racing KTM, Russell Bobbitt. Rolling next to the line, riding aboard the number 264, the first American overall ISDE winner. A former motocross and supercross great. He hails from Akron, Kentucky. He rides aboard that number 264 Coastal Racing Rockstar Energy Husqvarna, Ryan Sipes. Rolling to the line next aboard the 323. He hails from Wellington, Ohio on a Husqvarna-backed Husky, Scott Grills. And last, and certainly not least, from the great north of Canada, aboard the 269 KTM Canada, Recluse Canada, FMF back KTM, Philip Cheney. And that, ladies and gentlemen, your starting lineup for this XC1 Pro Class and the Dunlop Tomahawk GNCC. The riders begin to rev their machines and start them up for the final warm-up in today's final race of this Tomahawk, our XC1 Pro, XC2 Pro 250s, and also our XC3 125 FMF sponsored class, all ready to go, and amongst a host of other riders, including our 4-stroke A's, our Open A's, 200 A's, Vet A's, Junior A's, Senior A's, and all the B classes as well. Over 300 riders on the starting line here today in this afternoon race. A near 11.3-mile race course that these riders will be traversing here at the Tomahawk from these beautiful highlands we know as the Seneca Highlands, home of the Seneca Indians. And, of course, now home to GNCC as our attention now focuses and turns up near turn number 1, where Ricky Towery is standing by, and he is about to begin our starting sequence for today's GNCC racing. And he signals these riders right now that they have 1 minute. We are less than 1 minute away from rolling into this final race of the weekend here in New York, our first of 2 stops in Wanoa territory. And this one, my friends, has certainly been a dream race weekend as far as weather is concerned. What will the next 3 hours of racing hold for the GNCC Racing Nation in the history books? We're about to find out as Ricky Towery signals these riders to shut them down, shut them down, shut them down, shut them down. We are now less than 30 seconds away from starting this Tomahawk GNCC. And I got to ask you, folks that are here with us in New York, the great folks of Winoa, the Western New York Off-Road Association, are you ready to go GNCC racing? Yeah. I like that. I heard a yay, and I heard a few screams, but I know you can do so much better than that, New York. We're in Winoa country. Are you ready to go GNCC racing? 10 seconds. And row number 1, the XC1 Pro, will be off and rolling in our Dunlop Tomahawk GNCC. And they're off. The 212, Ricky Russell. What a jump off the starting line, but it's going to be the 114 of Josh Strang, followed by the 557 in honor of Cookie, who actually was his original racing number. Caleb Russell racing that today along with the number 1. As we go next, we go into the XC2 250 Pros. Craig DeLong, Benjamin Kelly, Jesse Grom, Sam Evans, Zach Hayes, Dylan Rash, Braxton McGee, Nathan Thornhill, Austin Lee, Joshua Toth, Brendan Riordan, Michael Witkowski, Drew Higgins, Jesper Borgerson, Ryder Lafferty, Dylan McRitchie, Anthony Federico, Ryan Francis Lane, Michael Teagan Temple, Nick Davis, Tristan Landon, Zach Nolan, Chris Vendetti, and Trevor Barrett ready to roll in 10 seconds. And we're off. Another $100 up for grabs. Josh Strang picked up $250. The $100 whole shot award to the 941 Chris Vendetti from Fort Mill, South Carolina. He got the whole shot at the Big Buck GNCC to open up the season on the 8 Graphics Boys and Racing Flow Motorsports Bag Machine. Taking us next to row number 3 in the FMF XC3 125 Pro-Am. Jack Evans and Jason Thomas, Devin Welch, Mark Haresco, Nate Smith, Joshua Adkins, Matthew Cook, and Hunter Neuwirth, all ready to roll on Ricky Towery's cue of 10 seconds. Kick starts down, and they're off. What a great jump off the line by Nate Smith from Summers, Connecticut. The 429 will hold water. We'll find out. Jason Thomas, so the 125 from Wales, will take the lead. To kick this one all off today as we roll to the 258 class, Jesse Ainsley, Chase Hayes, Brewer Colley, Eric Douglas, Talon Bennett, Zachary Toth, Scott Greibel, also Tyler Murray, James Ayers, Matthew Davis, Levi Struble, Anthony Talvani, Hunter Bush, Alex Teagarden, Bradley Lauder, Brian Palumbo. 10 seconds. Lane Dutlinger, Michael Cook, Jordan Purvis, also Michael Thayer, Carter Calkins, Andrew Gross, Jordan Arbertani, Kyle Tino, Thomas Carala, Josh Farrell, Joshua Lord, Matthew Keeper, Scott Moore, Simon Johnson, Jonathan Johnson, and Cody Barnes. It's a 5-7-0 of Matthew Keeper from Monroe Township, PA on an Ithaca Recreation FXR back machine. Four-stroke A-Lights class coming up next. Colin Keegan, Justin Murphy, Connor Keegan, Chris McManus, Ryan Slopko, Caleb Stone, Brian Post, Russell Smith, Brendan Poling, Cole Madison, James Murphy, Tyler Brandon, Frederick Bluen. 10 seconds. Also Lane Hosler, Matt Tabani, and Braden Moore. Ryan Slopko, one down. Big washout on the front wheel. Ryan Slopko not at all affected by that. He overshoots the second turn, will lose the lead, but he got across the whole stripe first. Open A coming up next. Brady Myers, Evan Earl, Zach Tussle, Connor Smith, Spencer Hoyt, Timothy Steiner, Tyler Brutton, Ben Parsons, Grant Marriott, Damon Rummel, Jim Steiner, also Gardner Weber, Marcus Scott Cornell, Stuart Fish, Ryan Quinn, Harrison Schreiner. 10 seconds. Ian Howes, Dakota Jordan, Zachary Cleland, Ben Bowens, Anthony Thomas, Justin Beers, Cook Becker, Dallas Micah, Trevor Cobb, Paul Petrin, Bryce Coster, Levi Keller, and Joe Economo. It's going to be, I still don't know. I don't know, maybe 5:56 of Dallas Micah from Berkshire, New York on the beta. Barely edging him out across the stripe. Not sure if he was able to hang on to that lead or not. All right, let's see. I might have turned two pages there for a moment. We got 200A, Cash Jacobs, Brody Johnson, Eli Childers, Johnny Manera, Barry Fernandez, Adam Hartnagel. 10 seconds. Ryan McGrogan, Jason Tino, Nathan Davis, Nathan Hubbard, and Hunter Reimer. All righty. 376, Barry Fernandez from Ottsville, Pennsylvania on a Mile Hill cycle gear back machine. Taking the early lead, 200A class as we go next to the Bet A class. Joe Marsh, Ryan Emmons, Big Jim Steiner, Sam Forrester, Jared Hoffman, Craig Volkemer, Jeff Arsenal, Brandon Woodmans. Also looking at Andrew Byer, Ryan Howe, Tim Andrus, James Stoddard. 10 seconds. Matthew Quick, Daniel Conway, Sean Gillespie, Nick Wheeler, Eric Barnett, Buddy Barnes, Seth Eberhardt, TJ McMahon, Jacob Dennis, Clayton Weaver, Michael A. and Robert Raymond, Anthony Howe, Brad Hoffman, and Bill Zaventi. 404, Matthew Quick from Unadilla, New York. Going to get credit for the early lead there. We'll see if he can take it on home as we go to the Junior AB. Andrew Boggs, Tyler Hamilton, Kevin Simons, Casey Belt, Nick Bush, Jonathan Eklund, Josh Lewis, Lucas Towery, Aaron Studer, Jesse Kilslow, and Sean Cunningham. 10 seconds. Oh, 928, Sean Cunningham out of nowhere. Can he do anything with it to the inside? Now straight down the pipe. It's the 928 Sean Cunningham from Knoxville, Tennessee on the right. Center USA Evans Cohen Fly Racing Machine grabbing that early lead here as we go to the Senior A40 Plus. Shotgun Sean Remington, Rob Brown, good to see you back, buddy. Chris Levin, Bob Bergman, Carl LeBlanc, Frank Messina, Jeffrey Hart, Daniel Bohm. Looking at actually Jeffrey Ellett and Jeffrey Odell. 10 seconds. And a green flag waves on this one now as we are off and rolling here in the Seneca Highlands. Yamaha rider 457, Frank Messina from Campbell Hall, New York, snagging the early lead. Senior B class is our whole shot class, $250, I believe, going in the name of Cameron Nichols. And right now, 10 seconds. Jeffrey Brilliant, Mike Kochman, also Devin Ferguson, Steve Gulick, Jonathan Brooks, Todd Cameron, Don Bailey, Shane Watts. We got, Shane Watts, Craig Howes, Jeff Lehue, Tom Larkin, Justin Hildebrandt, Mark Proper, Daniel Cleveland, Kelly Laborde, Scotty Plantley, Darren Darmos, and Gregory Richardson. 676, Kelly Laborde from Tampa, Florida, on a Laborde Entertainment Step-Up MX No Toil Machine. We'll take the Cameron Nichols Memorial Whole Shot Award to $250 in this class. And four-stroke B lights in 10 seconds. Chad LaFollette, Bolton DeRoss, Joe Spivey, Adam Parker, Hunter Hart, Eric Ross, Benjamin Murdoch, Andrew Tinker, and Hunter Scott, all in this four-stroke B class. Oh, mercy. What a hard get off there in that first turn region. Who's it going to be up front? 954, though. That's Hunter Scott from Petrolia, Pennsylvania. A rider bounces right back up. Hey, that's what Noah Strong right there, baby. Shaking it off and keeping on going. 250 bike class, or 250 B class, Kyle Prismont, Chase Weedwell, Will Busick. Also, Brian Day, Joshua Flint, Ryan Hines, 10 seconds. Dustin Mertz, Mitchell Morgan, Tyler Hancock, Michael DeLosa, Blaine Kimmery, Zachary Knapp, Jason Key, Justin McAleese, Denver Martin, Jonathan McDougall, Dakota DeVore, Evan Stewart, Tyler Martin, Tom Ozalski, Zachary Geiger, Thomas Trussler, Frank Gallo, Adam Spear, Devin Luoma, and Billy Saliga. It is the 442 grabbing the early lead. That is Blaine Kimmery out of Charlotte, North Carolina, on a Universal RS Barrett Burr seat cover back machine. Next class, 200 Bs. We got Dawson Kellogg, Chase Colville, Devin Sweat, Chase Goslin, Gavin Rakima, Keegan Jacquish. 10 seconds. Trent Robbins, Lucas Finch, George Reynolds, Seth Bevington, Noah Stewart, and Brandon Keegan. $200 class, rounding the first turn now. And it's the 431 of Keegan Jacquish from Sequoia, New York, grabbing the early lead right there. That B30 plus, Larry Hopper, Stephen Young, Sean Morris, Travis Starkweather, Wayne Skidmore, David Knickerbocker, Kyle Beadle, John Ellersick, Joe Brown, Michael Ross, Sean Royal, Wes Morris, Brett Merritt. 10 seconds. Scott Peer, William Bryan, Corey Maxson, David Yahtzee, Neil Hood, Jordan Overfield, Stanley Yeager, and Jeremy Stowobi. Well, 353 on his helmet. That is Travis Starkweather from Trumansburg, New York, grabbing the early lead in this one. And we go to the Open B class. I believe this is our final start of the afternoon. James Harshberger, Jacob Prick, Grant Lehman, Cody Stevens, Michael McLean, Matt Sorge, also Peter Wilson, Steven Schonkweiler, Don Swansbro, Jake Champion, John West, Kyle Max, and 10 seconds. Dawson Dobson, Jacob Barnes, Corey Jordan, Mike Sciana, Jared Shiley, Owen Marriott, Michael Chandler, Riley Morse, Richard Hines, and Nathan Ailes. We got a Husky out front. Oh, we got two of them. It's a 980 Nathan Ailes out of Elgin, California, grabbing the early lead in this one. See if he can hang on to that one and carry it on home. We'll see. Mercy, mercy, mercy. Glad. Good thing for those Motomaster brakes, I tell you that right now. That'll do it for our starts down here on the starting line. Of course, things are really heating up out on the racetrack. Josh Strang took the lead. Can Caleb Russell break the Tomahawk curse and finally come away with win here this year? He's not been able to do it the first 2 times. Can it the 3rd time be the charm? Stick around. GNCC Live will continue after this.
We handle your races, your jumps, and your trails. Isn't it time you give your daily driver the same love? AMSOIL Signature Series Synthetic Motor Oil delivers 75% more engine protection against horsepower loss and wear than required by a leading industry standard. AMSOIL also offers a full family of dirt bike lubricants, giving you above and beyond fortification for your weekday and weekend vehicles. AMSOIL, devoted to protection.
As riders and racers, we understand the need to get quality parts, apparel, and accessories fast. We have the horsepower of multiple warehouses to make sure your gear, OEM parts, or accessories make it to your door quickly. Check out our easy-to-use website and experience customer service that takes the whole shot. RockyMountain8VMC.com. Get ready.
Here he is, Walker Fowler, Grand National Cross Country XC1 Pro Lap Champion.
And welcome back to GNCC Live. I'm Mikey Waynes, and I'll be joined in just a moment with Rodney Tomlin, as well as Johnny G himself, Johnny Gallagher, in the studio with us here in just a little bit. We are going to be taking a look here. To give you a quick recap, however, let's do that real fast. If you're just joining us, out of the whole shot, Josh Strang out in front of the number 557. Well, who's that? Well, that's Caleb Russell, the number 1 of Caleb Russell. He'll be wearing the number 557 in memory of Cookie here this weekend. And, oh, there we go. So just got an update. It is Josh Strang, Caleb Russell, and Ryan Sipes in 3rd place. So to get things started off, we're going to give you a preview of our track out here with Jared Bolton, I believe.
Thanks, guys. This year we returned to the Dunlop Tomahawk GNCC. This marks our 3rd year here. This is an excellent track. It's been wildly popular among the Wanoa crowd, and it's become a favorite of the GNCC guys over the past few years as well. It's a great track. It's got a little of everything. It's got some flowy stuff. It's got some fast stuff. It's got some tight stuff, and we've even cut in some really tight stuff for the bikes on Sunday. Great course, a little bit of rock. There's a couple of little mud holes that are going to make things interesting for everybody. So all in all, this is something that really caters to the riders and spectators alike. There's stuff to watch. There's stuff that the riders like. We actually went and made a couple laps on the bikes today, and something we don't usually get to do a whole lot. And you know, this is one of those courses that when we were laying it out, I thought, oh, it's going to be fun, but I don't see anything too spectacular. But once riding it, I realized we really got something special here. So it's going to be a great race, great weekend.
All right, so as we're getting a look at the Google Map view of the track right there, the overhead, we've got about an 11.3 mile track today. Obviously, pro bike race today, 3 hours, a bunch of that New York black dirt. And the weather, well, it's hot. And I'm joined in the booth with Johnny G. And Johnny, it doesn't say it there, but the reports I was getting yesterday and even this morning with some of the youth riders and AM riders that it's been deceivingly wet out there.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and it says there, terrain, black dirt. I take exception to that. There's not actually much dirt up on top of this mountain. It's quite a bit of rock. The whole track is kind of lined with shale. And like a hard clay, you know, it is a darker clay, but you know, this place is super slick, and as you pointed out, I mean, the bikes are coming in fairly muddy, and is surprisingly, you know, because we haven't had any rain at all here in the last couple days. I guess we did get some Friday night, but you know, yesterday I was noticing just how wet the track was, and there was actually standing water in the in a lot of the ruts, and it was hard to kind of imagine just how wet it was. It was we were kind of expecting it to be dry and dusty, and as the course actually developed, it was pretty clear that there's some water coming out of natural springs here. But as wet as it is, we know that there's. We just got an update that Caleb Russell has lost his shifter, so they are probably going to try and make some quick adjustments there to be prepared for him when he comes in. Wow. The good news is provided that it has just fallen off and nothing actually broke off of the engine where it attaches, it should be a relatively quick fix. They should be able to have him in and out of the pits very, very quickly and out back and hopefully trying to make up some time. So,
yeah.
But you know, as we look and we see the perfect track conditions here, and we pointed out, you know, there is a variety of track conditions. Dusty out in the open stuff, wet down in the bottoms, and up on top where we're looking at right now, just perfect New York dirt. You know, really couldn't be more different from what we were seeing. And there looks to be Caleb Russell out front. So
unreal.
Apparently without a shifter, he has decided the best plan is to go and try and break away and get a lead, which it makes sense. I mean, if you're able to do it. And honestly, depending on what gear he is stuck in, it could actually not be all that detrimental to him through certain parts of the course. But nonetheless, you know, that is not something that he is going to want to continue with if he does, in fact, not have a shifter. He's going to want to do everything that he can to get into the pits, get that fixed, and hopefully get out there and try and make up time if he loses any. But at the time right now, he's out front and seemingly pulling away, making dust for everybody else to eat.
Yeah, he is, and you're exactly right. That's what he wants to do, is get out in front of these guys and get a good lead so that he'll be ready to roll into that pit and hopefully get that fixed and won't have as much time to make up. And pretty cool. I don't know if you caught it. He's wearing the 557 today. I think it was the front number plate. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. He's running the number 557 on the front number plate, which was Caleb's, you know, number throughout his entire amateur career, or throughout much of his amateur career, and even when he first turned pro. Also, the very first number that Dale Cookie used in his racing career, and you know, Caleb wanted to run that today, and just in homage of Dale and, you know, our man Cookie. So it was pretty cool of him to do that today. And right now he's leading the way and showing off that number 557 number plate and keeping it clean. Josh Strang hot on his heels, and it looked like there was a whole bunch more guys right back there. Here we see on screen Grant Baylor. Looks like he's in pursuit, trying to close up that gap to get back in touch with the lead group. But as we were saying, you know, the conditions here look really good. Just 3 weeks ago, the conditions not so good at our last round, the X Factor GNCC in Indiana. That was a wet one for sure. And, you know, there's portions of this track down in the bottoms that maybe are wet, but nothing approaching the conditions that we had just 3 weeks ago. I think we actually have some footage of that just to compare the perfect dirt that we're looking at on screen to just how bad things were a few weeks ago. Here we see the start. Looks like our XC1 class start with Ricky Russell getting the whole shot there out front, pinning it, and you can see, I mean, the mud just flying everywhere. It was, man, that was a wet one, Mikey.
It was absolutely unreal. I think you were pretty happy with how the weekend ended up, but on the next day on the bike side of things, it was, I mean, to say it was wet was an understatement. And Thad Duvall, he obviously ended up taking the win. And, you know, quite frankly, actually, matter of fact, Johnny, you mentioned it in the pre-race report on Saturday about the overall trophies. These have got Thad Duvall's name written all over them. And he ended up taking the win out there. And Josh Strang also made the podium.
Yeah, we see Ricky Russell. They had to cut so much new trail because the track was just completely destroyed from the Saturday ATV race, and the conditions were so bad they went ahead and decided that they would just combine the morning and afternoon programs, run it one race, 2 hours, and if you survived it, you know, you definitely had something to brag about. And that man right there survived it in the third place spot, Ricky Russell. And this man coming by the camera right now, Thad Duvall, he took home the big trophy that he was real pumped on. He's an avid hunter, loves it, and here we see him again coming, working his way through. Thad Duvall says he doesn't like the mud, but man, every time it gets muddy, Thad Duvall gets nasty. So I think maybe he's trying to downplay that just a little bit too much. He may not enjoy it, but he certainly rides well in it. And there we see he was battling throughout much of that race with the 212 of Ricky Russell. And the conditions, you know, when you see those top guys like that, you know, feet out, paddling like rudders, that really shows you just how tough the conditions are. I mean, the front wheels sliding everywhere. They're having a hard time even coming close to making it look like it's even rideable, let alone easy. They had to go across the finish line. They actually had to reroute the final turns into the finish because it was so bad, dirt bikes could no longer make it through the ruts. So they said, hey, we got to change the track in the finish line chicane. Mikey, we've never seen that before.
It was unreal. I mean, I don't know if it was maybe a lap or two to go, but you started seeing the guys rolling through and just getting stopped, right? Well, that's almost a good example of it, but that's...
And there's Josh Strang coming through. That just shows just how tough it is. And now we see the battle. I believe it was Chris Bach and Ricky Russell both working their way through. And they were just, everybody was doing everything they possibly could to get across the finish line. They couldn't even make it through the scoring actual loop, so they were having to hand score them and plug them in. And wow, what a mess! But they went ahead and yeah, we're getting an update that they came through and they attempted to stop Caleb Russell to fix his shifter. He waved him off and kept the throttle pinned. So either he's thinking he's stuck in a good gear, or it is possible that he's lost only the tip of the shifter, or just a portion of it, and he's still able to get in there and do some shifting one way or another. I guess we're going to find out soon enough. I don't know if they've already come through VP Fuels Pro Row or if they're saying they tried to stop him elsewhere. It was more than likely probably elsewhere out on the track. So they'll be coming through VP Fuels Pro Row. We'll see if he maybe elects to stop there. It could be a situation, Mikey, where he may know something else is going on with the bike, and he's wanting to make sure that they have all the stuff that they need. Now they're coming in. Looks as though possibly Josh Strang has taken over the lead, and that looks to be... Is that Stu Baylor in second? And Baylor around the outside.
Like Stu and Baylor's got the pass.
Oh, no, that's Ryan Sipes.
That is Sipes. So Sipes was third, so that's right.
Sipes around the outside, makes the pass, and takes over the lead. Strang squaring him up. This is after VP Fuels Pro Row here. So we'll have to see. It's getting pretty dusty. I don't know if we'll see exactly where Caleb Russell fits into this mix. I think that might be him there in the third place spot. So something happened over across the road there that shook that up. And if we look out, right out outside of our RacerTV studios here, we do see the riders starting to come by and making dust. So we're going to see him live and in person here in just a moment. But if you're watching from home on GNCC Live, you're getting to see all the action right now. And actually, folks, you get to see more than we do.
Yeah, you do, because our computer decided that the start of the race was a good time for itself to do a self-restart. But regardless, we'll see these guys come through. We may not know the difference between them outside of what we see, but
I'll tell you what, we'll get the watch out. We'll do
that
it
works.
right here in front.
Old-fashioned way.
So here it is. Ryan Sipes leading the way, and you can see just how nasty this man is in the fields and the grass track type sections here. Pretty crazy, the speed. Obviously, just 2 years ago, taking the individual overall at the ISDE International 6 Days Enduro. And right now, he's showing exactly why that was. This man can ride a grass track and a special test. Here he comes through. He checks in, and it looks to be he has opened up a gap of about 5 seconds over Josh Strang. Josh Strang in the second place spot. Caleb Russell coming in. Caleb is another, looks to be 6.5 seconds back. And then Stu Baylor in fourth is about another 4.5 seconds behind him, followed by Jordan Ashburn. And there was another rider. We had a van come by. Trevor Bollinger up in there. Not sure who the other rider was. Now we see Russell Bobbitt, the 113 FMF KTM. Thad Duvall, a little further back than we had expected to see Thad. So Thad running back in about that number 7 place spot. So Thad going to have to get a move on if he wants to get up there and mix it up with those leaders. We know he's capable of it for sure. The speed is not an issue, but he doesn't want to let those guys get away. If they get away, it's going to be hard for him to make up that gap for sure. On screen here, we see Grant Baylor working his way through the final chicanes. I believe that'll have him coming in at roughly the number 8 place spot. Again, apologies, our live scoring is down for the moment. So we'll see if we can get anything else pulled up and get some official updates, but we think that is Grant Baylor running in the number 8th place spot. And now we see some more riders checking in here. That could be our XC2 leader. And it is Josh Toth, the XC2 leader there, is checking in. So there's the leader of XC2. Here we see second place in XC2, Jesse Grome checking in. And this is third place in XC2, looks to be Lane Michael, and it is Lane Michael. So there's your top 3 in XC2. Scott Grills, another XC1 rider, checking his way in on that KTM. Rodney, you know, things getting shaken up here early with Caleb Russell potentially having an issue with the shifter. We were told he had lost his shifter, but then he waved off the attempts to fix it and has dropped from the lead back to that third place spot. So we don't know if that was a byproduct of potentially a shifter malfunction or if he just lost some time over on that other side of the road. There we see Austin Lee, another one of our XC2 riders checking in. So interesting developments here early.
Yeah, it is. And, you know, kind of like, and I hate to say this, but this is one race where Caleb seems to have had some sort of issues. He's not been able to win this one. Chris Bach took the win the first year. Last year, Josh Strang got the win. And now this year, and, you know, I hate to put it like this, but I kind of called it the curse of the Tomahawk, kind of as a joke leading into this, as a little bit of hype. But I'm beginning to wonder right now, with the way things are starting to shake down, if the curse of the Tomahawk might be an actual truth when it comes to Caleb Russell.
I'll tell you what, you know, it's certainly something to think about. I mean, he came here in 2015 on quite a high, you know, was seemingly pretty much untouchable at that point in time. Nobody had figured out the riddle as to just how to beat him. Chris Bach went out, put in a phenomenal ride, and just kept it smooth and consistent all day. Let Caleb make the mistakes. Caleb said he struggled with the suspension, struggled to get comfortable in the slick conditions. And long story short, he ended up second on the day. Last year, a little bit of a different story. Caleb having some struggles early, much like he kind of is today. I believe there was actually a slight mechanical issue at the start of that one last year. Caleb got way behind, charged up, caught Josh Strang with a couple laps to go. And in the heated battle, some contact was made. Caleb also made contact with the tree as a product of that, and broke his motorcycle to the point where he could not finish, recorded a DNF and 0 points on the day. So certainly not something he wants to repeat today.
No,
but,
not at all.
Starting off, you know, in third place, not terrible, but things starting off just a little bit rough.
Most certainly, but, you know, this is kind of the excitement of it all. I'll be honest with you. I kind of like it this way. Not that I like to see anybody struggle or anybody behind the 8 ball, but what I do like to see is I like to see the adversity that people go through sometimes to actually overcome it, and that's what's really cool about this. Caleb has a lot of adversity he's got to work through today, and if he can overcome it, that's going to be spectacular, especially when you look there and looming in the back of his mind is, hey, I have yet to win at this place, and it's not really treating me the best in the world. So right now, he's got a couple of things to deal with, and whether or not he's thinking about that, it's happening.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and at this point when the race is just kind of starting to shake out and everything is developing, you know, it's hard to find that rhythm. It's hard to find the flow and make it all happen for you. It's one of those things that, you know, Caleb Russell obviously is better at than most. But as much as he may be struggling there in that third place spot, you know, we got to look back to 7th there to find, I believe it's 7th. Let's look here. Where do we see Thad Duvall?
Is 12th. Yeah.
Hey guys, I got the update for you. I'm not sure if you got caught it, but Caleb Russell did have the broke shift lever. They got that replaced here in the pits. He got a splash of gas and back out on the track.
Alrighty, so
there we go.
Yeah, he is back into rhythm now, and he's not real far off pace if you look at it when they came through the finish line. 6.5 seconds back. He was just 11 or so seconds off of the lead of Ryan Sipes there.
Well,
so,
and there we saw on screen he was all over the rear tire of Josh Strang. So I'll tell you what, though, Josh Toth coming through there on screen, I'm going to tell you right now, that is your physical or your overall leader. He has physically gotten around Thad Duvall and a number of other riders. I'll tell you right now, if this pace continues, that was much less than a minute. Josh Toth is going to be your overall leader.
Well, he checked in 5th place just at the end of the first lap of racing. You look at the lap's time, that first lap, 24:48 for Ryan Sipes, 12 seconds to 25 minutes, and then add another 5 seconds onto that. So 17 seconds is all he has to make up.
He's made it up already. I can tell you that right now. On screen, there's no way that was anywhere near a minute. We can get a clock on it right here on screen. That is our leader. We'll see if we can hopefully catch these guys in one of the same corners. So in that corner there, we've got Ryan Sipes. We started the clock. We'll see if we can catch Josh Toth hopefully in that same corner. Let's see, but I'm telling you right now, this kid is shredding. He's a New Englander, rides well in these conditions. We saw him last year, his breakthrough ride at Unadilla, where he came through and won that first XC2 race in that new ride with the Ampro FMF Yamaha. And
well, we got a report on what happened to Thad Duvall. It sounds like he hit a tree and has dropped back there on lap number 1. So he's fine. He's okay, back up and rolling, but that's why he has fallen so far back, because several guys got around him in the process of doing that. And while we got the clock on this, man, we got to tip our hat to Ryan Sipes, man, because, I mean, you think about it, the big picture, everything was going so well, snowballing in the positive direction for that rider up until a couple of months from now, a year ago. So about 10 months ago, man, he was top of the A-game, man. It was always, we're keeping an eye on him. And he had that little mishap there just before the ISDE, and he's really kind of, I mean, we've seen some glimpses of greatness out of him, but we haven't seen the kind of riding that we're seeing out of Ryan Sipes here today, and it finally seems like he might have shaken that monkey off his back.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and this is a great track for him. It's fast, it's flowy, and the man has the skills to do well here. And I can tell you right now, Rodney, we did not see them in that same corner, but I saw Josh Toth go into the woods, and he went into the woods about 50 seconds behind Ryan Sipes, which means he is physically 10 seconds ahead of Ryan Sipes for the overall on corrected time. Now, again, this is one lap in, nothing to throw a big party about yet, but nonetheless, you got to be excited if you're Josh Toth or if you're a New England fan. You know, this guy's really got showing some speed, and he's out here doing it right now and making it look kind of easy.
No doubt about that. Right now, Josh Strang running in the number 2 spot. We talked with him earlier today, and he even mentioned, you know, we keep talking about the injury and how long it's going to take for that to recover, and he says each week things get better and better and better, and he is that much closer. As we look on screen, we see GNCC great Barry Hawk, an 7-time GNCC champion, and of course second on the all-time overall wins list out there is new team manager, well, the last couple of years for Coastal Racing, and he's got to be pretty pumped up for his rider right now. Ryan Sipes says we're pretty pumped up to have our next guest in studio that is with us right now from Dunlop Tires. We're talking about Rob Fox. And Rob, welcome to the GNCC Racing Nation, brother. I know that you know, you make your way to a lot of races, but it's not often that you get to come to the off-road.
Yeah, we definitely pumped to be here. I had the option to come up here, and I gladly volunteered to make the drive up here to GNCC. I did a little bit of the GNCC series with my previous position, working down in Florida for WMAR KTM when they had a couple of riders there. So for me to be back at the GNCCs and see everybody was definitely an opportunity I wanted to come and check out, especially for the Dunlop Tomahawk GNCC up here in upstate New York. Yeah, it's kind of like a homecoming almost for you then in a way, huh? Yeah, definitely. No, it's a lot of fun to see everybody and say hello, and definitely at least try to get to at least one a year. You know, we talked to you several times throughout the course of the day, but this is the first time that a lot of folks at home have, well, this is the first time that the folks at home are going to have a chance to hear what we have to say. But basically, one thing that I've talked a lot about today is just the involvement that Dunlop Tires sees in the off-road motorcycle racing world, and what you guys do, the dedication to GNCC. Yeah, no, this is definitely the heart of off-road motocross racing. I mean, I mostly go to a lot of the motocross amateur events and some of the pro stuff, but we definitely don't forget about you guys that are the weekend warriors out there in the woods riding for fun, and you know, this is the pinnacle of that. So for us, this is you know, the bread and butter for the sport, and something that we definitely take very seriously. And serious enough that you actually made tires that were already popular in tread. You made them to the size that we need over here on the off-road side. Yeah, definitely. We definitely listened to some feedback and the people asking for certain tires. So this year we came out with our MX3S, which is our soft intermediate motocross tire. Is now available in an 18-inch, and we have that in 3 sizes, which is the 110 90/18, the 110 100/18, and then also a 100 100/18. So we're pretty excited about that. A lot of guys are using that and enjoying it. And then also we have our MX52 motocross tire, which is our hard pack tire. That's also available in a 110 100/18. And then also recently we just came out with our MX11, which is our sand and mud semi-paddle tire, but that's also available in a 110 100/18, and that was really popular first round down to Florida. So no matter what terrain, what bike you're on, we definitely have the tire for you. And then of course our go-to off-road tire is our AT81, which comes OEM on the KTM and Husky off-road bike. So we definitely have tons of different options for you guys, no matter what bike you're on, what terrain you're running. So a lot of the guys out here right now, the top KTM and Husky guys, they're running an AT81 rear with an MX3S front. Full production tire, nothing special, so whatever they got on their so just check and make sure you have stickers on the bike, and then you guys get Dunlop tires you can use down the road. So then also for here at the Dunlop Tomahawk GNCC, we're doing some giveaways and stuff that also help out as well. So we're definitely here to we're here to take on feedback, and we're always working on new stuff and always developing products. So we're really excited and very happy with our product and performance.
Well, great, man, and we are too. And we're happy with the dedication that Dunlop has shown, GNCC Racing and the GNCC Racing Nation, and of course, this Tomahawk GNCC itself. Glad to have you guys on board and title sponsor there. And we've been doing trivia questions all day. We got some certificates that we give away, rebate coupons, and you get $40 back. And also getting some hats and T-shirts away. And we've had some pretty gnarly questions today. Some easy ones, some not so easy, but
we need to give a little bit of credit to the guys that came up with these questions.
I was getting ready to say.
I mean, I saw some of these and I had no idea. And then for them to actually come up with the answers and know them, I mean, that's unbelievable. So that just shows how this sport is and how dedicated the fans of GNCC Racing are.
They most certainly are. And Jared Bolton, Bolton, as he is affectionately known in the off-road racing world, he's one of our junior trail bosses and track designers out here. So
yeah, we came up with this idea, and then I was like, I mean, I have some questions, but nothing real technical. And Jared jumped right on it and he said, I got a bunch in my head. I just got to write them down. So last night he typed them up for us, and he has a whole slew of questions. So thank you to him, and it's been a lot of fun. I think there's something cool that we can keep doing.
I think so too, and let's go ahead and do one right now. Let's give something away. So those of you folks listening here at the racetrack, sorry for you folks that are watching at home.
Well, can they answer through Twitter or something, or just to see if they can interact? I mean, they're not going to win.
Chelsea, can we set something up like that? Is that something we can do?
Just so they can, interact with us
a little bit.
Just a hash. Is it? Or even just add.
Okay.
Just do add GNCC. I mean, just so they can interact. Maybe.
Yeah. The hashtag GNCC Live might work as well. That way we group that all together. You want to use Twitter then? Is that what you?
Whatever. I mean, just an idea. I thought. I mean, gets people at home involved.
All right. And all right. Alrighty, folks. Well, I tell you, as we watch this race day unfold and the amazing historical value that this Dunlop Tomahawk GNCC could have in GNCC racing right now. Ryan Sipes up front, Josh Strang in second, Caleb Russell struggling with shifter issues. They've got that fixed. He's in third. Stu Baylor, Epstein-Barr disease. We found out that was a big issue with what was going on with him 3 weeks ago. He's running right now in the number 4 spot. Josh Toth, currently 5th overall, but we're kind of figuring that he may be leading on overall time adjustments after this one's all said and done. After the second lap, we'll know a little bit more about that. 6th place is Jordy Ashburn, Ricky Russell in 7th, Trevor Bollinger 8th, Jesse Crom, XC2 250 Pro 2nd place is 8th. Or 9th, I'm sorry. Then Lane Michael, who's 3rd in that class, rounds out your top 10. And, of course, wondering where Thad Duvall is, our last race winner. Duvall taking the win at the X Factor GNCC, having a problem there on lap number 1, clipping a tree. He went down, lost several positions. He's okay from what I've been told, but he fell back all the way to a 12th place position. What a heartbreaker there, but at the same time, he's coming off of one of the highest moments of his career with that win 3 weeks ago, and we actually had a chance to catch up with one of GNCC's legacies.
Yeah, it feels awesome, to finally get the monkey off my back to get the win. It feels really good. It's been a roller coaster year with a bunch of seconds, but we've finally got to the top where I needed to be, and the last couple weeks have been going really good, and I got the confidence there, and just going into tomorrow, I'm looking forward to it. This place hasn't really treated me the best in the past, so just smooth day tomorrow. I'll be happy. Just a top 3. I really want to win, but like I said, I've had some really bad luck at this place. I just want to get through here 100% and get on to the rest of the year. So, it's looking good. The conditions look pretty well. It looks a little dusty for the quads, but I feel like it's going to be really good in the woods. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to tomorrow and ready to get out there and battle for the win. Yeah, I definitely feel like this is one of my best years for sure. It's it's been awesome. I've won the last couple races I've ran, and it's been really well. I have some boys living with me from Florida, and we've been training a bunch, and I owe a lot of credit to them kids. They're up every morning like, hey, let's do this, let's do that, and go to the gym and cycle, and I feel like I'm definitely in the best shape I've ever been in for sure, and I feel like that's what's really making me do well is, being in that shape and having that confidence that I can just throw around the bike however I want and not get tired. And, I feel like, yeah, it's definitely one of the best years for sure.
And Thad Duvall, proud rider of Dunlop Tires. Seen it right there on his shirt right there. It's Rob Fox still here with us. And, wow, it's been a long road to hoe for Thad Duvall. We've seen glimpses of greatness. He's had wins before, but there's something about this past win I think that strikes a different tone than any of the other wins in the past have struck. And even though he's having those struggles here today, I don't think that we're going to be a bit concerned about that any whatsoever. But we figured it out. What we're going to do for our trivia contest, and we're going to do Twitter. We're going to do this through Twitter this time because we've been giving everybody a chance. But we want you to tag at GNCC Racing with your answer on Twitter. And the question, the first person to do so, we will give them what are we going to give them, Rob?
We'll send them a rebate card that we've been giving out here. So it's good for if you buy a set of tires at any dealer or online or at the track. You mail in your receipt, and then you get $40 in the mail on a prepaid Visa card.
And you want to throw in a hat as well? And we'll throw in a Dunlop hat as well. So if you want to get some cool stuff from Dunlop and you want to answer this question, tag at GNCC Racing on Twitter.
It's got to be a tricky one.
Yeah, okay. Here's a good one that a lot of people doesn't seem to know a whole lot. But who holds the record for the most years between GNCC wins? Who holds the record for the most years between GNCC wins?
Biggest gap.
Biggest
It's got to be online.
Online. We're going to do that one online.
Later.
So, and we're going to do a local one here in just a little bit. But right now, we're watching on TV on the monitor right now, trying to check how things are going as we are some 42, almost 43 minutes into this race. Actually, according to our screen timing on screen, almost 44 minutes into it. Ryan Sipes continuing to lead. Josh Strain, Caleb Russell, Stu Baylor, Josh Toth. That's the way they came through the finish line last time around. And what have we got going on here? We got that's one of our. Is that an XC2? As a coastal-looking rider there. Alex Teagard's who that was. I think he is one of our 250A riders, if memory serves me correct. I can look back here real quick, but what a tough break there for Teagard, man, because that's a rider that we've seen on several occasions as a part of a top amateur overall, and to see him still in the water this early in the race is truly disheartening for sure.
Yeah, it's a tough break.
And on our monitor, we are watching our leaders make their way through at this particular time as we've seen Sipes and Strang and I believe Caleb Russell going through, and that might have been Stu Baylor going through as well. They were somewhat tight in time. I mean, when they finished up lap number 1, you could probably say less than 15 seconds separating the top 4 riders, or right around 15 seconds separating those top 4 riders, which puts them pretty close, especially when you take into consideration the type of conditions that we have. But it's nothing like what we've seen in the years past. Of course, it's really dry, really moist out in the woods and even in the fields. But on the top layer of these burn-in track sections with the sun beating down and the wind blowing the last 2 days, we can see and are seeing a little bit of dust develop out here in those field sections, but it's nothing like the dust that we've seen in the past here at the Tomahawk.
Well, that's one of the things. I heard. I was actually talking to Vicki Fowler this morning, and she was talking about, Walker was talking about that yesterday. Adam McGill was talking about that yesterday, about how surprised they were at how deceivingly muddy some of these sections are out here on this track. It's never been that case in the previous years.
And rightfully so. The only thing there has been a couple of the springs that we're dealing with here and there, but nothing like what the springs are this week, man, because with the rain, I guess it stopped raining here in this part of New York on Wednesday was the last day that they got showers up here, and it was, when I came in on Friday at noon, I got stuck coming in the pits, believe it or not. I had to put the old Dodge Ram in four-wheel drive. We got out of her, but...
well, I must say, I was talking to a couple of riders this morning, and I heard one of the riders say that this was the most fun GNCC they've ever raced. And I was kind of surprised by that. I mean, it looks real dry here on some of the video, but I guess back in the woods, it's pretty tacky. It looks pretty cool. So it's pretty cool to hear that, you know, and having to be at the Dunlop GNCC, you know, it's nice to hear that.
Yeah, and that's great, man, because I was watching and looking at some of the track footage that we have. We have some GoPro footage. We also have a track map that, looking at the layout of this one, it does look like a lot of fun. I rode the course here in 2015 on a Friday leading into the race just to see what it was like and the varying terrain here. I mean, you've got a little bit of everything from hill climbs to mud, some little valleys. You got rocks, you got roots, shell. You got a little bit of everything. I mean, it throws it at you here at the Seneca Highlands. There's no doubt. And I can see where it could be one of the funnest tracks. I had a lot of fun in these open field sections, laying it out. We have a winner in our David Kripe. Congratulations to David Kripe. Now, let's ask, do we have a winner? Did he get the right answer? Jimmy Jarrett. He is absolutely correct. Jimmy Jarrett had a span of 10 years in between his wins, and a lot of good guesses. Many of them for Ed Lojak, which Ed Lojak is an answer to one of our trivia questions I haven't answered yet. Just giving you a little bit of a hint. But nonetheless, congratulations to David Kripe. I know David, and he is certainly a true GNCC history connoisseur. He has been, he's paid attention to GNCC for many, many years, and also a big Jimmy Jarrett fan from what I remember as well. So congratulations, David. We will be sending you your certificate as well as your hat from our good friends at Dunlop Tires.
Yeah, we'll be reaching out to you, or if you guys send a direct message, either way, however it works, we'll get you that certificate in the mail with a hat. So it was pretty cool. Thanks for playing, and thanks everybody for interacting. That was cool.
No doubt, no doubt, and thanks for all the answers. And we'll play again here in just a little bit. Right now, though, we want to pick up on what's going on here, and we are nearing the completion of lap number 2, and this is where we get a chance to see just exactly how things are technically as they come to the finish line region itself. Again, at the last check, we had Josh Strang with just over it looked like he'd opened it up nearly to about an 8-second lead or so over Strang and Caleb Russell. Baylor, but the big question on everyone's mind rolling through this second lap of racing is about Josh Toth. Is Josh Toth in the overall lead after time adjustments? He's your XC2 250 Pro class leader. He was 5th heading into the second lap of racing. He was only 17 seconds out of the lead, and hooking up with some of those guys up front, this might put him in a pretty good position to be just that, the overall leader. If he is, will he be able to maintain that throughout the remainder of the day? Those questions will be answered as we continue here on RacerTV, watching the action right now from mile marker number 8. And we are moments away. I'm not sure if we're longer or shorter on this lap due to the relationship of the starting line to the finish line. If memory serves me correct, I think lap 1 was a little bit longer yesterday, or was it the other way? Yeah, it was, lap 2 was a lot longer, or seemed to be a lot longer. So we'll see what happens here on this one here. Is technically, according to my timing and scoring, we're what you would say late, but right there, heading toward the finish line region is your leader, Ryan Sipes, on the 264 machine as he makes his way through the chicanes now, out near the start line through those first few turns of the start itself. Sipes appearing to be all by himself here in this section of the racetrack, at least a 5-6 second lead as he rolls into the finish line region now and scores himself a second lap lead here at the Dunlop Tomahawk GNCC. Here comes our second place position there as Caleb Russell. Russell has jockeyed himself right back into the number 2 spot, even after the mishap with the shifter lever. They got that changed. He's back into second, 14.6 seconds behind.
I must say, I was standing right there when the guys did a quick pit stop to change that shifter, and I think they did it in under 10 seconds. I mean, they came right in, zipped it right out, put it back on. He was out there, good to go, and didn't lose that much time. So kudos to those guys. That was awesome to see.
Wow, that's NASCAR speeds right there, man. Whenever pit stops like that, that's crazy. Less than 10 seconds, and he was only 6.5 seconds behind whenever he came through the finish line. So pretty impressive stuff there. So Russell right now, 14.5 seconds back. Stu Baylor only 3.2 seconds behind him. And, you know, this is where we start to begin and get concerned. Oh, my, look at this. From 12th place a lap ago all the way up into 4th place right now, and only 3.8 seconds out of a podium position is Bad Thad Duval, my friends. Talk about man on a mission. That win a couple of weeks ago, backed up by the win at the National Enduro, has really lofted this young man's confidence today, and he is not going to relinquish on the first lap, that is for sure. He hit that tree, dropped back to 12th place. Here he is up to 4th place, and within 20 seconds of the #1 position. Let's look at lap time. 24:52 for Sipes, 24:56 for Caleb Russell, 24:55 for Stu Baylor, and 24:41 for Thad Duvall. That right there is, what is that? That's 12 seconds faster than your leader, Ryan Sipes, out there. That's the fastest lap out there. So kudos to Thad Duvall, who's on rails right now. He even got around Josh Strang. Strang now is 10 seconds behind Duvall in the #5 spot. Jordan Ashburn checks in 6th. Ricky Russell is 7th aboard the #212. 8th place, now checking in the XC2 250 Pro Class lead. 8th place overall is Josh Toth. He's still the leader of the class. He drops from 5th to 8th overall, but still holding steady. But here's the important factor to factor into this one. Lane Michael is now up from 3rd place to 2nd place in this class. He is 3.4 seconds behind Josh Toth. So we've got a real heated battle shaping up right now for the overall, or excuse me, the win in the XC2 250 class. And that's only really starting to heat up, I think. And we've got a long road to hoe on this one, as we are only barely an hour into this race. And 2 of the fastest guys in the XC2 Pro Lights, the 250 class, are up front battling each other wheel to wheel.
It's unreal, the level of competition we've got between the Pro Class XC1 and XC2. We haven't even had time to talk about XC3 to this point.
No, I know, and we're going to try to get to that for you in just a moment, but we just want to let you know Trevor Bollinger rounds out the top 10 overall right now. Russell Bob at 11th, Grant Baylor 12th, Jesse Grom is 13th, Chris Vendetti, who got the whole shot in the XC2 Pro Class, is 14th. Austin Lee is 15th overall. Nick Davis 16th after coming back from a broken kneecap. We'll talk a little bit about that in a few moments. Zach Nolan 17th. Jason Thomas, he is the leader of the FMF XC3 125 Pro Class. He is 18th overall. Philip Cheney, our Canadian XC1 racer, the 269, running in 19th overall. Craig DeLong, who's featured on the event t-shirt and running, I believe, 7th place in the XC2 250 Pro Class, is 20th overall right now, and that is the way things are starting to shake down as far as the overall is concerned.
It's unreal, and I mean, you gotta tip your hat to Ryan Sipes, just kind of a guy you've been pulling for all season. He's had some real tough breaks, some tough situations, so to see Ryan out there leading this one after 2 is pretty exciting.
I actually forgot what I was going to do next, man. I know I said I'm going to do this, and I'm got all excited and got to thinking about the greatness that's going on here. Oh, the XC3 class. That's what we want to look at, and we see the what number? The 125. That is the 125 of again, Jason Thomas. He was running a solid top 20 position, I believe, in, what was it, 18th place there. I think he might have dropped out of the top 20 now that we have. Let's keep doing this. We'll just keep hitting update. Wow, we got some guys checking in that are pushing him out of the top 20 overall. So let's see how he is doing real quick how the rest of the field is faring behind him. Jason Thomas is leading out of Wales, a 1:27 lead over Hunter Neuwirth. In 2nd, Nate Smith is 3rd, Mark Horesco 4th. Devin Welch rounds out your top 5. And I believe we got the action up front. And here comes, is that Russell going through there? Is that a new leader by chance? We did. Oh, but look at that. That's Thad Duvall right on his rear wheel. Thad Duvall just got around that 3rd place ride. He's up to a 3rd place position.
I think it was Stu he was passing.
Past Stu Baylor and right all over the rear wheel of the #1 of Caleb Russell. Wow.
You can't say enough about him. You know, we talked about round number 6 and coming into this one, and that momentum Thad Duvall was carrying in here, and he had a tough break in the first lap, but he's right back out in front. Well, not in front, but knocking on the door.
Up to the front of the pack. I mean, he's still about 15, 16 seconds out behind Ryan Sipes at this particular point, but the massive amount of time and positions that Thad Duvall has made up on that one lap and in the course of the last few miles, what he's been able to do as far as putting the pressure on and move into that #3 spot right basically before our very eyes right there. Pretty awesome stuff.
You got to think is Ryan Sipes Mechanics and team telling him, hey, you know, he's coming. I wonder if they're, letting him know that you got to you got to step it up a little bit because Dad's coming on
Dad is
strong.
charging.
You know, he's coming.
No doubt. And fellow Husky riders, although they're not under the same tent, I guess they could all be considered team riders in a sense. But honestly, I don't think that has any bearing or weight any whatsoever in this GNCC, because Ryan Sipes is out to win for Ryan Sipes. Thad Duvall's out to win for Thad Duvall right now. And Thad Duvall is obviously out to try and win. So is Ryan Sipes. And we just got the report that it looks like it's going to be a 7-lap race today. So you can start planning accordingly for 7 laps. And that's the way things are faring out here at the Tomahawk GNCC. Man, look at these guys go. And this should put us, where are we at this juncture of, we're probably about halfway through this lap right now, or about a third of the way through this lap. So we're probably somewhere around the 4-mile marker or so at this particular point. And these riders out in these open field sections really seem to be finding a major flow. And again, we were talking about this track, and I think there's a major flow out in those wood sections too, with the varying terrains and the many different things. One thing that was neat and I thought was cool, yesterday for the ATV show, we had a special guest, in-studio guest, Michael Swift, who was a 4x4 pro racer, and he talked about the racing there yesterday. And he said that, you know, the way the conditions were in the woods, you know, he kind of expected that what you see one lap may not be what you see the next lap, because there's a lot of people that, you know, a lot of opportunities to get stuck and hung up out there in different places. And he said you might have a leader say, and then all of a sudden a different leader, or you might have a big gap and then all of a sudden they come out after a 2-mile section and they're nose to tail or something like that. And he said basically what it boils down to, you'll be going through there and then the track will kind of funnel down and get a little bit tight, and then all of a sudden there'll be like a spring or a mud hole or something crazy right there, or a creek crossing or something that, you know, that makes it a little tough. And he says, and that tightens things back up. People get stuck for 30 or 40 seconds. We heard people talking about it on the podium yesterday, getting stuck even. I don't know about today with the 2-wheelers, but I know the conditions are still tricky out there, and you got to watch where you're going. And you got to have good tires. So right now we checking in with Barry Hawk again out there, as he is this rider that is leading right now is his rider, the Coastal Racing ride of Ryan Sipes. So you know that Barry has got to be pretty pumped, and this must be Ryan coming through right now. And look at that. Was that
Caleb?
That was Caleb.
That was Caleb. Was that Ryan just ahead of him right there?
It looked like.
It sure.
Thad.
Ryan,
right
Caleb,
there.
Thad, and Stu. Now, look at that 14, almost 15-second gap. What are we saying, 4 or 5 seconds right there?
Throw a blanket over them. I mean, they're all right there together.
Yes, they are, coming through this wood section now. And that's the kind of things that we were talking about, how quick things can tighten up there, because last time we saw Ryan, he had a fairly substantial lead right around that 15-second mark, which was what we saw at the finish line region. But now, much less than that as we continue to motor along here. There is the number 4 machine checking in. Now Jordan Ashburn, has he gotten around Josh Strang? We'll see. Josh Strang was running in the number 5 spot. Ashburn was 6th. Now we see Ashburn coming around, unless I missed Strang. There's Barry Hawk. Looks like he's ready to signal another rider, so that might be, nope, he's moving on. So maybe Josh did go on through there just a moment ago. Or is that Josh right there? But regardless, we got some big changes going on here, and we got exciting things about ready to reach a fever pitch here. And we are only on lap number 3, only just an hour into this race. There's 2 more of these to go.
We got 2 more hours to go. This is unreal.
Already, we've seen a race worth of racing take place here, and we get the honor of being able to sit here and watch it all unfold. And again, Joel Grover will be joining us here in just a few moments from the Western New York Off-Road Association, and we got Rob Fox here in the booth with us right now from Dunlop Tires. And Rob, I can tell you right now, watching this, man, I mean, beautiful weather, and being out in the woods is one way, but man, being able to watch this on RacerTV like this is pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, I mean, this is how I watch it at home. So I mean, I feel like I'm just at home. I mean, it feels like it's a motocross race. I mean, they're all right on top of each other. I mean, moto's only 30 minutes long, but this is hours long, and they're still right on top of each other. So I mean, it's crazy.
They've ran 2 motos so far, and they're all running within closer than probably first. They're from 1st to 4th right now. It's closer than 1st and 2nd in a motocross race.
Yeah.
Folks, don't forget, if you want a chance to win $250 in AMSOIL product, You can go into the Instagram. You can find the GNCC Instagram, and there you'll find a place to do the podium predictions. It's a picture of the overall trophy on Instagram. If you comment on that, your overall predictions, we will choose at random a winner and give $250 of AMSOIL product away. And you don't even have to be right. We just want you to play along, man. That's the whole idea. Who do you think's going to win out here today? We're an hour into this. Got 2 hours to go. About that before we announce a winner. And right now we got Ryan Sipes, Caleb Russell, Thad Duvall, Stu Baylor, Josh Strang, all right there, nose to tail as they roll through. Caleb Russell seeing his struggles today. The curse of Tomahawk, is it real? Does it exist? If it does, is Caleb going to break it today? Stick around. GNCC Live continues after this.
Are you looking for a dirt bike piston that can increase power and decrease blow-by? Then check out Wiseco's all-new Racer Elite piston line. Racer Elite has been used exclusively by the pros, including RCH, Yoshimura, Suzuki Factory Racing, and are now accessible to the public. Available for popular 250 and 450cc dirt bikes, the Racer Elite series is the first off-the-shelf asymmetrical power sports piston ever made. Its fully machined billet aluminum construction features an exclusive custom lap top ring. Step up with dyno-proven power gains with Wiseco's Racer Elite piston line.
You smell it, you feel it, you can taste it in the air. Speed, man. Full wide open. Blast. I didn't really like high school too much. Too booky, too take notes, learn this, and that's it. Got WildTech. They had full-size motorcycles. The feeling of taking them apart every day, putting them back together. You can't explain it. Everything I learned applies to now. Seeing your motorcycle that you put together right around the track at 180 miles an hour, oh, definitely rewarding. My name's Mike. My school's WildTech.
Get on the fast track to a career. Turn pro at WildTech.
And welcome back to GNCC Live here at the Dunlop Tomahawk GNCC in beautiful Odessa, New York, overlooking the beautiful Watkins Glen, the town of Watkins Glen, and also Watkins Glen Speedway. You can see parts of it over there. It's in the heart of Wainoa Country, Western New York Off-Road Association Racing. And, of course, joining us here this week are the Wainoa Racers and the Vice President of the Bikes, Joel Grover. Joel, brand new position for you here in 2017. I was there when they announced the election results at the banquet this past season, and man, you hit the ground running, it looks like.
Well, you know, we're doing our best. It's just so great to be part of this organization. You know, I've worked with you in the past on all sorts of national series. I moved back home to kind of, I guess I had to grow up and get a real job, and I landed smack dab in the middle of Wainoa country, man. And I started running these things back in 08, and it just kind of get under your skin, and you fall in love with them. And it's a great family. It's just a great family of racers.
It is, and what you guys do up here in New York is kind of cutting edge, man. I mean, we've got a lot of great series across the nation. The IXCR is another great one. We got some down south, but there's something that stands apart, I think, for Wainoa, man. I mean, the sheer number of riders that you have in the organization is phenomenal, man.
It's something. I know. Our opening round, 842 entries just at a local race at the last weekend in April. You know, I mean, it blows my mind. And you know what's so nice is that Joe Bromley from the AMA approached us last fall and said, hey, are you guys interested in going to the next level with us? And so underneath the nationals and then the regionals, they have a series. It's called a featured series.
Right.
So Wainoa knew this year we are an AMA featured series.
Wow.
Nice. Yeah, so when you come up to our banquet in January, as we were talking about earlier, they're going to be giving away AMA #1 plates for the very first time.
AMA feature series. That is pretty cool. And that shows you the kind of recognition that Wainoa and Western New York off-road has, man.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's just so fun to be part of so many people that put their hearts and souls into this thing, you know. I mean, Scotty Rich, I should give a shout out to him. Scotty Rich is, I think, our 6th-time overall champion of the series. He's been doing this thing since he's like 5 years old. So he is now the president of the organization. I said I didn't have enough time to take that role on. I said, I'll help you in the back. You be steering the ship. I'll be in the engine room working away. And so he and I have been, you know, along with Becky Wheeler, have been putting this thing together and trying to take it to the, I guess, the next level. You said cutting edge. I don't know about that. You guys are the cutting edge. We're just trying to do what you guys do at a local level and make it cool for our racers, you know. And really, the focus is the youngsters. Because if we get them in at our level, look, you see them all over. Our Wainoa racers coming up and being the pro riders at this level.
Well, yesterday's ATV XC2 podium was all 3 New Yorkers, man. I mean, right here from Wainoa.
I'm telling you, they know how to ride.
Yes, they most certainly do.
Maybe a little bit of a home field advantage, if you will, riding these routes. I I grew up here myself. I raced here this morning, so I've been out on that track for about 2 hours this morning.
Right.
And I tell you, these guys blow my mind. I said 3 hours. I am just not ready for that. I'll take the 2-hour morning shift, and I got to tell you, these guys are just blowing my mind. How fast they're going. The racing's so tight. I love it. This is the way to watch it right here.
Right here, exactly. Now tell me, what did you notice about the track this year? You probably hadn't been here before and raced it, had you? Or?
No, I have actually. Funny, I live literally 10 minutes from here.
Oh wow!
I grew up riding these hills, and the owner, the landowner, Carl States, is a good friend of mine, and you know, he's been good enough to let us start racing up here. So we already did a Wainoa race earlier this season. Right. So about a month or maybe 5 weeks ago.
Right.
So you know, but I got to tell you, we've had a lot of rain. I stopped up just to peek at the course here last weekend. I brought my son, and we did a little riding around, trail riding. And I was like, oh boy, it's going to be a mess. But I'm blown away. Today was awesome. They did a great job. Jeff Russell and the boys, Bolton, I guess, he does a great job. That track was really fun, I'm telling you.
Well, good, man. We're glad to hear that. And I know that you guys are pretty picky up here in Western New York. And rightfully, I don't mean picky, but you guys know what it takes to make a real good road racing, I guess is what I'm saying. And this is it, and you guys are, everybody's enjoying it. I mean, everybody I've talked to smile from ear to ear. And Joel, thanks again, man.
Listen, I got to give a shout out to the people that are making it happen. I brought up my list because I didn't want to forget, if you don't mind, Ronnie.
Okay.
I just want to say thanks to all the sponsors. We really went up above and beyond this year to try to get some partnerships, if you will. And right off the bat, one of our local manufacturers, Spec Op Manufacturing, they make guns and ammo here locally. Unbelievable. He's a former Army Ranger, and he retires and starts his own business. So he came on board. So Craig Letts, thanks so much to him. Moto Options, the Rochester, New York company. Full Action Cycles, Bromley Motorsports, Tire Spines, Hillcrest RV, a local RV dealer, and then Canyon Motorsports. All came on at one of our better levels. We got contingency programs for our riders from Fly Racing, Honda, Kawasaki, Rocky Mountain ATV motorcycle, and then KTM. And then we got a whole slew. Let me just rip through them here of our bottom level of riders, or promoters, or excuse me, sponsors. We couldn't do it without them.
Right.
High Gear Suspension, Northeast ATV, Southern Tier Honda, Ithaca Auto, Ithaca Rec, bike shop here. His kid races with Hunter Hart's family.
Yep.
So Andrews Lawn Care, Fresh Threads, Lane Yamaha, Shups Off-Road, Budget Racing, and Binghamton Honda. So a big thank you to everybody that's making it happen this year. And Scotty Rich, thank you, brother. You're doing a great job. Keep steering the ship, man. We're going to take this to the next level.
That's great support, man. Again, Joel, thank you again for being on board with us. And like you said, man, we've been to a lot of different places together and cross paths, and it's good to cross up here in Western New York.
We love it. Thanks, Rodney.
All righty. Joel Grover, again, Vice President of Wainoa. On the bike side of things, hey, I need a Holly or Jim G. Is it G? G? Holly or Jim G. We got your lost nephew, Tyler Molnoski. We got Tyler up here at the RacerTV booth. So if Holly or Jim G. Can find their way up here to RacerTV, we've got Tyler up here. He's kind of looking for you right now, and we'll keep him on, and we'll keep him busy and entertained while things are going on. You doing okay, buddy? Good. You're going to be fine. You're going to see everything's going to be great. So again, congratulations to David Kripe, our latest winner in the Dunlop Tomahawk GNCC Trivia. I also want to say congratulations to other folks. We'll get back into this racing here in a moment as we're watching some of these lead riders, I believe, make their way through. I've seen some yellow machines going by anyway. But I want to say congratulations to Lucas Finch, a winner in the Dunlop Tires Trivia. Ian Smith, Harrison Schreiner, Chris Natellos, George Reynolds, Trevor Gates. Also, I want to say congratulations to Craig Smith. Those are some of the winners. David Kripe, and I think we have probably another winner or two that we can say congratulations to here at one point. But there is the 114, Josh Strang. He has got 20 career wins, as we see right there, and believe it or not, that's less than half career wins right now that Caleb Russell has. He's only 2 wins away from the all-time wins record, and one has to wonder if Josh Strang stays around, will he be able to get up in there in the 30-40 win range? And once he gets healthy, man, you know, one has to think that that's a definite possibility. Right now, you've seen him drop off a few positions, but taking a look at the overall GNCC all-time wins list, as you see there, Scott Summers has 46 overall wins. Caleb Russell has 44. The great Rodney Smith
33. We actually saw Caleb Russell break that record there last year at LoJack, a 9-time GNCC champion, 26 wins. And Fred Andrews, Fast Freddy, 1993 GNCC champion, came off the motocross side of things and won the championship that year. And, of course, Andrews has 25 wins. But we're watching that wins column there for Caleb Russell. If he can pull it off today, that'll put him at win number 45 and only one away from tying the great Scott Summers. So we got some pretty cool things that are in the works and in the process of happening today. So we're just going to stay and wait and watch with bated breath today as Johnny Gallagher rejoins us here in the booth. And Johnny, I know you've been out and about gathering all kinds of intel, watching a lot of great racing. What are you seeing, brother?
Well, I'll tell you what, the barbecue pork sandwiches are excellent.
Is that where you've been in the line all day?
Well, no, I was actually out there watching some racing, and what we just saw on screen there, Rodney, was Josh Toth, our XC2 leader, coming by there. And, you know, I can't say I'm disappointed because the kid's obviously riding really well. He's got a little bit of a lead there over Lane Michael, but, man, I thought we were going to see a shootout from that XC2 guy. The way he was blitzing that second lap, and then I think the big boys got the memo. Somebody must have told him, hey, there's some little kid out there on a quarter liter that's coming after you. And they said, oh, okay, we'll twist it now. So still a good ride for him, though, leading the way. And, you know, I got to say, I'm really impressed with Ryan Sipes. You guys have been talking about it a lot. It's been a struggle for him this season. You know, not that he hasn't gone fast, not that he hasn't ridden well, but to really find his groove. And if you remember, 2 years ago here, he really found his groove. You know, it was, we actually thought we were going to see Ryan Sipes' first win here. And then ended up, he struggled a little bit there. Chris Bach ended up getting the win. And even last year, Ryan was doing incredibly well here until it was basically Josh and Caleb Russell picked up the pace. And I think Ryan ended up experiencing some issues. So we're going to, fingers crossed, no issues for Ryan today. Hope to see him up on that podium. And heck, maybe in the middle of the way he's riding right now. There we see, looks like Russell Bobbitt on screen. He's just outside the top 10 in our XC1 Pro class. But, yeah, a lot of developments here early. And I got to say, you know, I know it's been talked about a lot already, but astonishing what that FMF KTM team was able to do in getting that shifter switched out so quickly. Yeah. We thought Caleb simply had a bobble. You know, he was leading, and then he was in third, but he was still right there. So, oh, he must have bobbled or clipped a tree. Oh, no, they stopped and they changed the shifter. So, you know, those guys are on it. They took what could have been, you know, for many people could have been really an unraveling set of circumstances for
I'd
a
still
race.
be putting it on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, how many cold ones would that take to change a shift? That's probably at least a 7 cold one project.
Yeah,
and I mean Pepsi, of course, or Gatorade, whatever.
Yeah. And several buddies that sit around and analyze it.
Yeah, well, you know, I think it should be one spline higher. I don't even know if Caleb was able to make it to a complete stop. With that kind of a time that they did. I think he just slowed down. They probably had one of those little rolly chairs. They were rolling next to him down VP Fuels Pro Row. Slapped that thing on and kept it rolling. So, yeah, definitely great work by those guys. Now we see on screen here, looks like, is that Thad Duvall? It is. There's Thad Duvall. Caleb Russell working his way by. Did we miss Ryan Sipes? Or is... There's Ryan Sipes right on Caleb Russell's rear wheel. So this battle rages on. Wow. Caleb Russell in the point position. Thad Duvall going to give up a little bit of ground here with that fuel stop, but now he has fueled and those other guys have not. So this could be the tail of the tape later in the race. Thad already proving he has the speed to make up ground. Caleb Russell head down and charging. I think what we're witnessing right now, folks, is Caleb Russell, the gravity of this situation. He says, man, the guy that's been giving me all I can handle all year, Thad Duvall, just pitted. So it's time for me to drop the hammer, open up a gap. So the next lap, I can take some fuel and still have the lead.
I'll tell you what, Caleb Russell taking several punches and low blows over and through social media over the last few weeks. And I can tell you right now that this young man is fired up when it comes to getting in here to the Dunlop Tomahawk GNCC this weekend.
Fellas, let's just call him by his name, Golden Boy.
and to point that out, I don't know if you guys have seen this, and if he makes the podium, and I say if, like it's not going to happen, I think it will. He's got Golden Boy stitched on the back of those pants today.
Golden Boy's got some heat right now from Captain America. We got 2 superheroes, Golden Boy out front, Captain America in second, and these guys are drag racing around here. They are trying. Caleb Russell saying, man, just when I think I'm shredding, here comes Ryan Sipes. This dude knows how to throw down on a moto track, and these fields here in Tomahawk are just like a moto track. Big berms, flat insides. The only thing we're missing is some ruts. And but these guys are both absolutely shredding right now.
Wow, these guys are all over each other's rear wheels. They roll into the final turns here and make their way to the finish line. I believe this is the end of the third lap of racing. It is Caleb Russell now out front as we check in with 3 laps complete. Russell turning a 25:36 lap time. Sight slowing down just a little bit to a 25:51. The gap less than a second when they came through the barrels there. 13 seconds back to the number 3 position after a pit stop by Thad Duvall. He's running solid there. We look back to the number 4 spot. A little bit of a gap starting to open up there. And the Epstein-Barr and the illness that Stu Baylor is suffering from may be starting to rear its ugly head.
Yeah, you know, this is a pace that very few men on the planet can run. And right now, I think we're seeing the 3 that have it. Stu Baylor, hats off to him, you know, keeping it close, keeping himself in this fight. But right now, he's going to need to put in one heck of a charge. Josh Strang hot on his heels, though. So that's looking like to be its own little battle breaking out there over the 4th place spot. And again, these guys not incredibly far off that if something crazy happened, they couldn't find themselves in the battle for a podium place position.
Right now, as we watch this roll here again, Russell, Sipes, and Duvall have checked in. We see now that 4th place Stu Baylor has checked in. He has dropped to now just under 30 seconds behind Thad Duvall. Another 1.4 seconds behind him is Josh Strang. It almost looks like Josh Strang is picking the pace back up as Baylor turned to 26:16 that time, a 26:03 for Josh Strang. And you know, didn't we witness this before in the past, and we've seen it a couple of times. As the race wears on, it seems like Josh, it's almost as if he maybe goes through a little bit of a struggle there with some pain, some effort or whatever, and then all of a sudden he gets a second win, and the latter part of the race, man, he goes shooting his way up to the front of the pack, and he's so much closer this week, he could be a little bit of a threat to factor in as far as the overall top 3 is concerned today.
We did just see, it looks like Josh Toth checking in, our XC2 Pro Lights leader, so we'll see where he stacks up in the overall. Looks like he has moved back up now to the 6th place spot. He was down to 8th. We saw him as high as 5th. Per my time calculations, which obviously are perfect, it couldn't be disputed. At one point, he was actually leading this thing overall. But nonetheless, you know, hanging around right just outside the top 5 there in that 6th place spot, followed by Ashburn, Bollinger, Russell, and Lane Michael, not yet checked in with 3 laps complete, but we expect to see him any moment here. I did see Austin Lee was moved up, and I think he might be our 3rd place rider in that XC2 Pro Lights class.
Let's take a look at that now, then.
Well, they're not checked in just yet.
All right.
But it does. Okay, here's Lane Michael, so they're 2nd in XC2.
So Toth is in, 40 seconds back is Lane Michael in the number 2 position. And last check, Jesse Grom, last lap was 1 minute 25 seconds out of 2nd place. Austin Lee was only 9 seconds behind him. So in theory, I think that this is highly likely that Austin Lee is 3rd. The question is, how far back is he, though?
Yeah, we did see him come through VP Fuels Pro Row. I did not see Jesse Grom around him, but that does not mean Jesse Grom may not have pulled a little bit more of a gap than what we had last seen. But I did not see Jesse Grom in 2 of the camera shots. Again, we're kind of cutting in and out on some of these, so it's possible we missed him. We'll know here in about the next 30 seconds who is our 3rd place rider in that XC2 class. Have a feeling it could be the 1, 2, 3 of Austin Lee. You know, that's a number he's carried for many years, and I think it's just because it rhymes with his last name.
That's absolutely right.
The 1, 2, 3 of Austin Lee, and I think here we see Russell Bobbitt working his way in. This is another one of our XC1 riders who is, I believe, rounding out the top 10 in that class at the moment. As we take a quick look here, here the rev limiter of a 250F. So it is actually Bobbitt, yep, in the 10th place spot there. Grant Baylor checked in just before him. So Bobbitt now rounding out the top 10 in XC1. Good solid ride for him. Expected actually him to possibly be up in battle for a top 5 or maybe even better today with the slick conditions. He's a rider that does very well. And I got to tell you what, Mikey, this is about the slickest race course I have ever ridden. It's like ice out there. I do hear a 250F singing up the hill, and I believe it is the JCR Honda, the 1, 2, 3 of Austin Lee, checking in, and he's in a podium place position. So he's gotten his way around Jesse Grom, and he's hard on the gas in pursuit. He's got a little bit of ground to make up if he wants to go after Lane Michael. But nonetheless, he's charging hard and doesn't really have any heat behind him right now for that podium place spot.
No, he doesn't. And, yeah, you're absolutely right. Moves around Jesse Grom into the 3rd place spot. He's got a whole heck of a lot of time to make up if he's going to catch up with Lane Michael, who is in 2nd.
We've got a new 4th place rider as well. Don't mean to cut you off, but on screen we're looking at the number 12 of Benjamin Kelly. Ben Kelly, another one of those Northeasterners. Now Grom in 5th.
There's
so
Grom.
A bit of a rough lap for Grom there. And now we see Mike Witkowski, I believe that is. That should be our 6th place rider in XC2. So we got a XC2 freight train there for 4th, 5th, and 6th, right on each other, not too far behind Austin Lee, who's holding on right now to that final podium place position in that XC2 class. Here comes another one of those XC2 guys, Craig DeLong, a rider that was down off the start, charging hard early, and I have to wonder if maybe he didn't use up a lot of energy trying to come through the pack. There was a lot of riders on that XC2 line. Craig was the last one into the second corner.
Oh, wow.
Shaking his right hand, looked like he might have gone down and punched something with his hand there. There we see Stu Baylor on screen. Baylor coming through. He is still in that 4th place spot. We know he was getting some heat from that rider right there, Josh Strang, the 114. Oh, Strang goes down.
Drops.
He saves it, but man, that was nasty. He looked like his front end took a glance off of something there, and I can't believe he saved that, Mikey.
That was quite a save, and couldn't have been at a better time because he was right on those heels of Stu Baylor moving through there, so that could have been pretty costly for Strang.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and I'll tell you what, this is one of those courses, Mike, where, you know, when you get into a rhythm, it's so much easier to ride this course because it is so slick, it is so technical, it is so difficult that when you're out there struggling along, it becomes a lot more difficult for you. You know, you're kind of tripping over your own feet. You're, we're going to see again just what happened to Josh Strang here. But, basically what happens is something starts to go wrong, and then it takes all the wind out of your sails. Something happens with the front end here. Oh, look.
Whoa,
it's actually, no, I was wrong. It was the back end kicked. It looked like the bike started to almost slow down. The rear wheels stopped, threw him up over the handlebars, and I cannot believe he managed to save that. That could have been real ugly. Real ugly it could have been. There we see Jordan Ashburn, the number 4 factory beta. He had a little bit of a struggle through there, so it must be a little bit of a tough line there. It doesn't look so bad on the camera, but giving these guys fits as they work their way through.
Just when you were talking about the rhythm of the course and settling in and riding on rails, there we go.
Yeah, you know, and that really is the thing, honestly. It's when a track is this slick, we see Josh Toth there has caught up to Trevor Bollinger, one of our XC2 riders, so Toth's still leading the way in that XC2 class. You know, when you get into a rhythm, this course becomes infinitely easier to ride because you're just kind of feeling the flow. You can do no wrong. But the Razor's Edge flip side of that is one little mistake can take the wind right out of your sails, and then you're just grasping at straws. You know, you're on a sinking ship. You're trying to bail water. You're trying to plug holes. Any analogy you can come up with for trying to fix a bad situation, man, you're knee-deep in it.
That's true. But, you know, one thing that always oftentimes surprised me is whenever you talk to these guys on the podium after the races and what we think has been a flawless race, and we think these guys have gone out and just ridden rails the entire day. Oh, I went down here, I went down there, I clipped a tree there, got stuck here, got stuck there. You know, we hear on the podium about these little struggles that these riders go through, and there's so many of them. But you know, the mindset of these guys oftentimes, and we talk about knocking the wind out of the sails, but Johnny, how often do these guys just remain focused? I mean, that's the kind of thing that I think is really cool and inherent about GNCC racing.
Well, that really is the you know, you're touching on something there that's kind of a dirty little secret of GNCC racing. You know, this isn't motocross. Not that is incredibly tough, physically demanding, you know, mentally taxing. But in GNCC, you know, these guys are out there for 3 hours. On Saturday, we're out there for 2 hours. You know, that is a long time to keep up a competition. You know, you're competing with yourself, you're competing against competitors, and you're competing against the elements. And when you push yourself to that limit that it takes to be competitive and to run up there in a top 5, top 3, or win, you know, or even the top 10, you know, of a class or of the overall, you know, you're on that razor's edge. And when you make a mistake, you have to be able to reset from that almost immediately, because if you don't, it can spiral out of control so quickly. So in a way, the best of the best, you know, your Caleb Russells, your Chris Boriches, your Walker Fowlers, your Scott Summers, you know, those guys that have won, not just once, not just twice, but do it time and time and time and time again, or even guys that run in the top 5 or the top 10 week in and week out. Those are the guys that are better than the rest at overcoming adversity, because adversity comes your way in the form of trees, of lappers, of bike problems, and eventually you got to just dig your heels in and push back, and that's what it comes down to. These guys are able to manage that panic factor, I guess, and really just say, hey, I've been here before, I've done this before, and today I'm going to do it right.
And prime example, Caleb Russell in the first lap with that shifter problem. I mean,
sure, absolutely, like we talked about. I mean, that type of a problem is something that could derail just about anyone's day. Even though it was somewhat of an easy fix per se, you know, that could take the wind out of your sails, and next thing you know, you find yourself battling outside the top 10, trying to climb your way back in. He was able to manage that. He recognized the problem. He sprinted to try and get out front, to get a gap, and then came in and we didn't get to see it on camera, but we're going to make up our own story. Very calmly collected, said, hey, guys, I was wondering if I could possibly get a shifter. And they said, sure, Caleb, no problem. We have one right here. Would you like anything else? And he said, you know, a splash of fuel would be great. And they said, okay, cool. We're going to take care of that. By the way, your shifter's on. Have a great day. He said, thanks. See you soon. That was how the pit went down. And that's the difference between coming in and being calm, cool, and collected versus coming in, launching your bike onto a stand, screaming and cussing and everything else. And that's the difference between winning races and losing.
And that's why Caleb Russell's a winner, man. He knows how to remain calm in the toughest of the situations, and he continues to do so here today at the Tomahawk, even at the place where one might say he's cursed a little bit. 2 years in a row, he coming up short today. A lot of questions as to whether or not he was what was going to happen there on that first lap, but I think we can see, man, that Caleb has nothing on the back of his mind right now but winning this race.
Absolutely. On screen there, we did just see Josh Toth come by, the number 206 NFAB Pro Yamaha, leading that XC2 class, has now gotten around Trevor Bollinger. So we'd seen that he had caught up to the number 5 JCR Honda, but now he's made the pass and he's rolling out. He says, hey, I'm going to see if I can track me down some more of these XC1 guys. I got a top 5 overall I'm going after.
Well, right now, an hour and 27 minutes, working on an hour and 28 minutes, and we'll be looking at our Mid-State Chevy Midway report coming up here in a few moments. But here comes some coastal racing riders, it looks like, and that's the 523 there of Lane Michael. And with that, I mean, looking at Lane Michael in that XC2 250 class right now, that's the second place position. He was 40 seconds behind Josh Toth, whom we saw go by a little bit ago. And I think that was a little bit longer. That was at the finish line. I think that gap was a little bit longer this time. Then Austin Lee was another minute and 40 seconds back. So right now, Lane Michael's sitting in a pretty good position. It may be tough to track down Josh Toth at this point, but to get back into that rhythm of podium finishes and remaining calm throughout the course of the day, this is a good place for the 523, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Lane, obviously, to be on the podium, that's a good day for just about anybody. But, you know, Lane's really been kind of hard on himself this year. He's led a lot of races. He's shown incredible speed early, even running inside the top 3 overall. And I think at one race was only 1 second off of our overall lead after a couple laps. You know, he's had that speed early, but he just has not been able to kind of make it stick to the end. He's been on the podium a lot, but he just hasn't really been able to get those click off as many wins as he would like. And it's been kind of frustrating for him. So I think today, you know, to keep this gap semi-close at 40 seconds, and, you know, you got to keep in mind, there's a lot of race in here left. I mean, we're just over halfway through this thing, or right at halfway through this thing, actually. You know, so nothing is decided yet, but I can assure you that if you could, we had a radio and we could talk to Lane, he's not super pumped right now. You know, he's wanting to see those pit boards, and he's wanting to see that number come down. And, you know, that's one of those things. I mean, you see that gap of 40 seconds, you see that on the pit board, and, you know, to us, 40 seconds doesn't seem like a lot. But when you're out there and you know what it takes to make up 3 seconds or 10 seconds, you know, 40 seconds can seem like an eternity until you start seeing that number come down. You know, when you see that 40 turn into a 35, into a 30, into a 25, even though you're still 25 seconds behind, in your mind, you've already caught that guy. You know, and that's the big mo that you always talk about there, Rodney, you know, with momentum. I mean, getting that momentum going and knowing, hey, I'm the faster of the two of us right now. I'm making up ground, you know, whether that be, obviously right now it seems Josh Toth is the one who's seeing that gap stretch out, and Lane Michael's trying to manage that gap. So we'll see how it pans out, but definitely still a lot of racing left there, and a lot of adversity still to come their way in the form of lappers and this really slick Dunlop Tomahawk GNCC course.
No doubt about that. And as we look down through the standings here, looking and seeing that Stu Baylor still in that number 4 position, and one reason that we focus a lot and talk a lot about Stu is what we've been able to see this young man accomplish here in 2017. The opening round win at the Big Buck GNCC, coming from behind in Florida, coming from behind in South Carolina.
Whoa. Austin Lee on screen at a complete stop. That is our 3rd place rider in XC2. He has stopped. He was talking to Barry Hawk there. He's got one hand off. Whatever is going on with that JCR Honda does not look good. He is standing up and going slow. We've got a problem for Austin Lee, and if he doesn't get going, he's going to lose that podium position.
Wow, I wonder, with stopping and talking with Barry Hawk there for a moment, if there might be some other issue that he might be letting Barry know about by one of their other coastal riders.
No, he was looking at the rear sprocket or the rear wheel area of the machine, so I don't know, and Barry was just kind of shaking his head. I mean, we can we can speculate whether that might have been a problem with the spokes, the wheel, the brakes,
whatever, it's an issue of some
or
sort.
the sprocket, something back there in the rear wheel area. The machine is awry, and Austin Lee is not pumped on it. The machine is still moving, but as of right now, he is rapidly losing ground on the guys in front of him, and unfortunately, also rapidly losing ground to the guys coming up behind him.
Well, as we were talking there just a moment ago, was mentioning Stu Baylor and talking about the great things that he's been able to achieve and what he's being able to do last round, getting off to a much stronger start early on in the race, and then suffering from the issues and coming to find out in the end that it was actually he's got a case of Epstein-Barr. His immune system was down quite a bit, and he was having some major viral infections and things there a few weeks ago during the race and after the race. But since then, he's gotten a second place at a national enduro, and he says that, you know, basically he's just going out and riding as hard as he can for as long as he can. He says he's not sure how long it's going to be out there, but the one goal that he had, he says, I'm not going to go out and try to win today unless, of course, it presents itself to be an opportunity. But my main goal is the top 5 today and keep those points coming. But he really wants that win if it presents itself. But right now, Stu's just doing a great job of holding the top 5 position, I think, in that 4th place spot. But a real good job when you look at it. He was only about 30 seconds back, so that's still pretty impressive, even with the illness that he is suffering from right now.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Stu, he's got a little bit of struggles there after that last race. It's going to be tough for him because today's a hot one. We're an hour and a half into this. You know, he did get second overall at that national enduro, you know, where he was able to ride through. But those are shorter bursts, although they do spend a lot of time on the bike, and it was hot down there. So, you know, anything's a limit, or nothing's a limit for him. He's able to, anything's possible. He's going to push, and he's going to try and make the best he can today. But again, it's been a struggle for him. There's a lot been going on, and I think we actually got to talk to Stu and find out in his own words just what's been going on with him and how things are shaping up.
You know, we had a rough Indiana. You know, it would have been a really good weekend to capitalize on points. You know, Caleb had some mishaps there, and I was really bummed out, you know, after the race. Well, after I actually realized what all happened. You know, I had a bacterial infection that caused a bad temperature and sent me into a heat stroke on the race, or during the race, and you know, it took me out. I think on the second lap, I was severely dehydrated. I took like 6 bags of IV that night. I got to the hospital. My temperature was like 105 after 3 IVs, so they were thinking it was somewhere around 107, which is like brain damage area. So, you know, luckily it wasn't awful or as bad as it could have been, but just got off the antibiotics, been on those for the last couple weeks, and we're headed in, you know, just, I don't want to say to salvage points. You know, I'm still here to race. I don't want to be the guy that just comes to salvage points by any means. I mean, no matter what, I'm going to leave everything on the track. So, you know, I guess I'm sure I'm still not 100%. I haven't been in the gym the last 3 weeks since the incident. You know, we spent all week in the hospital, and then the next 3 or 4 days on the couch, and lined up at the National Enduro last weekend, was able to get a second place. So I wouldn't say that that's salvaging or cruise control by any means. You know, a second's pretty strong in a national series. So I'm going to try to finish strong no matter what and give it everything I've got and try to land on that box again.
Wow, that's a lot to go through. I mean, especially whenever you're at the pinnacle of your career, man. You're right where you want to be and have been working to get, and then all of a sudden this happens. But, man, I almost have to think that I'm even more impressed this week with Stu Baylor in the abilities that he's showing out here on the track, running in a 4th place position, even with the issues that are still lingering back there. And most importantly, Stu Baylor still comes here to try and race his best, and he's still going after wins.
Absolutely, and Ryder going after the win right now. That guy right there, the 989 of Thad Duvall. Don't know if we saw Caleb Russell and Ryan Sipes go by, or if Thad Duvall is possibly your new leader. Is that Caleb? No, I thought that was Caleb Russell riding over the front end of the machine that looked as though something were wrong with it, but I don't think that was him. We may have missed Sipes and Russell. We're trying to see here now. Those guys are not going fast enough. There is Caleb Russell, and there is Ryan Sipes. So Thad Duvall has gotten around those guys.
Well, there goes just exactly what we were talking about when Michael Swift was in here yesterday, how quickly things can turn around out here with the way the
It was kind of dusty. I'm not 100% confident, but those two bikes that went by sure appeared to be the silhouette and correct colors and riding styles of Caleb Russell and Ryan Sipes. Again, we're kind of speculating here. That was a far-off camera shot, and it was through a lot of dust. We do know for sure that Thad Duvall did come by, and we think he may be your new leader.
Source, we'll know more about that coming up here shortly and be able to give you the full details and scope of the answer on that one. But right now, if you look at the grand scheme of things, there was only 14 seconds, a little less than 14 seconds that separated Thad from the first place position of Caleb Russell there. And when we look at the lap times, his lap time was just a little bit slower, but at the same time, we know Thad is very capable of wicking it up, and he also pitted on that last lap. So when you take into account of that, a 23:43 to a 23:36, I think he's right on cue there with Caleb Russell's lap times. Maybe could be a little bit faster even at certain points.
Well, I'll tell you what, I believe it was 2 years ago here in 2015 when the race Chris Bach ended up winning. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Thad Duvall was out front and checking out in that race. And then he crashed and tore up the front brakes and had to salvage it. Came in, they tried to fix the brakes, or there was some kind of brake issues, in conjunction with several crashes. But he was absolute nasty fast for a while here. And, if you think about it, Rodney, we know Thad Duvall rides incredibly well in the rocks. We know he rides well in the mud. Granted, as we're watching on screen here, it looks like a dust race, but down in the woods, it's muddy, and this whole place is rock. We are on one big rock. You can't drive a nail into the ground here anywhere in this several hundred-acre facility more than a quarter inch until you hit rock. That's just how it is. And Thad Duvall loves rocks. I think he puts them in his breakfast cereal. He crunches them up and he eats them because he loves them. So right now, if he is in fact leading, he's putting on an absolute riding clinic of how to ride shale, slippery rocks. And if he's in third, he's still doing the same because he's closing that gap up on those guys after stopping for fuel. We'll know soon, real soon.
Real soon. And right now, just a real quick reassession of what took place there after lap 3. Russell, Sipes, Duvall, Baylor, Strang were your top 5. Josh Toth, leader of the XC2250 class, was running 6th overall. Jordan Ashburn was 7th. Lane Michael was 8th overall, 2nd in his class. Trevor Bollinger was 9th. Ricky Russell was 10th. Then we had Grant Baylor, Austin Lee, Benjamin Kelly, Jesse Grom, Russell Bobbitt rounding out the top 15. Mike Wachowski, Craig DeLong, Jason Thomas, Zach Hayes, and Brandon Riordan rounding out the top 20 there. So looks like a number of split up amongst XC1 and XC2 class riders, I think, mostly through that top 20. And interesting to see, looking a little further back, who is running in our top amateur position. Right now, I see it as a Sterling, Illinois native from the 250A class, and that is Cody Barnes. Barnes, the number 990, is currently ranked 23rd overall after 3 laps of racing, and he had what appeared to be several seconds over the second place in the 250A class.
Hey.
Oh, we got a new leader. Just got an update. We do have a lead change out there, Johnny Gallagher, but they're telling us Sipes, Duvall, and Russell. So, what we saw there, maybe it was Duvall out front, and then Sipes has gotten back around him. Who knows? This is going to be an interesting story to hear on the podium after this one's all said and done.
I'll tell you what, I'm really curious to see what the gaps are, because maybe Ryan Sipes was out front of that battle, and Caleb Russell was still off the back, and if he was, that was a big gap. I mean, we weren't talking 3 to 5 seconds. We're talking 15, maybe 20 seconds between when we saw Thad Duvall come by and the rider we thought was Caleb Russell. Here we see, and that is Thad Duvall leading. That is not Ryan Sipes. Thad Duvall is out front, and it appears that he is checking out.
But then that's what the pit board said.
There's Ryan Sipes right there in second. And as of yet, still no Caleb Russell. He may be stopping for fuel this lap. It looks like we've got some KTM crew guys standing out there, and I think he would, in fact, need to be stopping. There is Duvall out front and checking out, as the pit board said. We've got a great picture of Thad on screen for you guys to check out there. What a headshot.
Sorry.
He looks good. Looks good on the track. Not so much. There we see Caleb Russell is in, and that does not look like a typical Caleb Russell pit stop.
Rip it off.
Yeah. We've got some issues.
Yeah, we sure do.
All right.
We know what that cue is, Mikey Waynes. Mikey's grabbing the microphone, heading down to the KTM pit, see if he can get an answer as to why Caleb Russell's front fender is flopping around. Did he get too much mud on it and just weight it down and break it, do you think?
I'm going to go with no on that one. I'm going to say that Caleb Russell's KTM 250 XCF has made contact with a large New York tree very hard, or possibly another rider. We do know last year.
Yeah, I love what the producer says. Can you explain what the pit crew said to him in that stop?
Likely it started off with something along the lines of, dude. And then his reply was, wow. and then they probably came back and said, are you going to be okay? And he shook his head no and said yes. So he'll dig deep, make it happen. But right now, this man right here, the 989 Thaddeus Duvall out of Williamstown, West Virginia, on that Rockstar Energy Husqvarna, man, he is twisting that thing, looking great, feeling great. And right now, he's putting a gap between him, and we're going to have to come up with a superhero name for Thad, because we had the superheroes out front of Golden Boy and Captain America. Well, now we'll call him Bad Thad, the West Virginia Kid. Has worked his way up, gotten around both of those guys, taking the lead, and he is starting to gap out on this one, Rodney. You know, he's really dropped the hammer. We're now looking back to see if we can find, hold on a second. What are we seeing on screen here?
Oh, let's see.
That can't be, okay, that's got to be a lap driver.
All right, Ryan Sipes has checked in second place. Josh Strang, 24.4 seconds behind him now. And that's puts Josh 25 seconds. And then that was Stu Baylor right behind Josh Strang there, 3.4 seconds. Man, Baylor and both Strang, I mean, both these guys, if you think about it, are at all, it's against all odds for them to be doing well out here today, yet both of them seeming to do so.
Absolutely. Josh Strang, 24 seconds behind Ryan Sipes. He's taken over that number 3 spot. And I'll tell you what, he's on a charge. And if we look at those lap times, Rodney, we see that he ran a 25:36, which was 20 seconds faster than Ryan Sipes and only 3 seconds off of Thad Duvall's lap times. So right there with him being only, give or take, 9:24, he's 33 seconds out of the lead. And that is not an insurmountable gap for a guy that's able to run those kind of lap times. And as we know, Josh Strang gets stronger as these races go on. He starts to, maybe perhaps when he takes off, he's just not certain of exactly how, you know, his foot or his ankle's going to hold up. And then when he takes off, he charges midway through that race, works his way up through, and then he realizes, man, I can do this. And next thing you know, he's up in there battling potentially for a podium place position or even better. And he's already in third. We could see him up battling for the lead before this one's over.
Well, 30 seconds behind Stu Baylor is what we've got Caleb Russell checking in the number 5 position. There's a checked in just moments ago, and we are under the understanding that maybe his transponder might be having issues, but he did score. They actually had to hand score that one in, so Russell does have a little bit of an issue with his transponder, so he hit pretty hard. That's 2 years in a row. So I'm beginning to wonder if maybe the Tomahawk curse might be a true thing that we're talking about there with poor Caleb right there.
I'll tell you this, if anything, he is certainly happy. Let's see what we got here. Pin It is the pit board that we've got, and that is the Husky Suspension WP guide. So we're going to assume that is for Thad Duvall, and then I'll tell you what, he can just keep that pit board out there and send it right back out for Josh Strang, who's now in the 3rd place spot. And for that matter, we've got Husky's top 3.
Oh, I never even realized that, but you're absolutely right. Duvall, Sipes, and Strang, all 3 on Husqvarnas, and how much would that be?
We've now seen a Husky win a race. We've seen 2 Huskies on the podium. We've never seen a sweep.
Wow, that's going to mean a whole lot, man. I'll tell you what, Monday morning, tomorrow morning, Husky is going to be celebrating if that happens to be the case here, and rightfully so. Thad Duvall out front, Ryan Sipes in 2nd, Josh Strang in 3rd, Stu Baylor in 4th, Caleb Russell in the number 5 spot. We have checking in 6th overall still Josh Toth out of Connecticut, that XT2 250 Pro leader with Lane Michaels, now 54 seconds back in the number 7 spot overall, 2nd in class. Jordan Ashburn is checked in. He is 8th overall. 9th overall is Trevor Bollinger, and looks like that's 9th, and Ricky Russell to the 212, rounding out your top 10.
Wow, A lot going on. We see those shakeups in that XC2 class. Looks like still leading the way is Toth, but we do know that as they check in, we're expecting to see Austin Lee possibly drop out of a podium place position based on the troubles we know he had. Probably going to be stopping there trying to get some assistance in the pits when he gets his way through. Hopefully it's something they can fix, and maybe he can work his way back into that battle. But Toth, and if we look at the gap between Toth and Lane Michael, it is Toth leading the way in a 26. So their lap times are almost identical, but if we look at the elapsed time, it looks, they're showing
wow,
the same.
10 minutes.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
a minute and a half or better anyway.
Yeah, that's a big gap there.
Yeah.
So that has opened up from 40 seconds, and we'll wait and we'll watch, and we'll see just who is the third place rider in that XC2 Pro Lights class. And we're thinking, if all goes according to what we had seen last lap, we're believing that it may turn out to be Benjamin Kelly, another Northeasterner, another New Englander. Josh Toth leads the way, and potentially Ben Kelly looking to bring his way up onto that podium in the number 3 spot.
Hey, I think we got an update coming in from Mikey Wayne down on Pro Row, if I'm not mistaken. You down there, Mikey?
Date for you here. I got the update. Nothing major happened. He went down. Obviously, you saw the front fender. That's the extent of it. No other damage outside of that, though, so they're just running with it.
Well, that's good news. Nothing really to report, and that's basically what we had assumed. And the way that Caleb appears to be riding right now, that is just exactly the case. And man, what a heartbreaker as we are now approaching the 2-hour mark. We're really getting ready to do the Mid-State Chevy Midway Report. But I got to ask you right now, you know Caleb about as well as anyone, I think, here in the GNCCs. And what's going through his mind right now? I mean, I know that he has a lot of that fire burning still from all the stuff from a few weeks ago. But right now, that's something that's not in his mind. I think the race day at hand and the situation at hand is on his mind. So what, I mean, knowing him as well as you do, what do you think is going through his mind right now?
Man, it's not good. You know, Caleb's not a rider that's at all okay. We was just popping in the screen there and we cut away. He's not okay sitting back there in that 5th place spot. That's not a thing he processes well. And, you know, we've seen Caleb have some bad races over the years, but I can't think of the last time he had 2 races bad back-to-back. Not that a top 5 should be bad, but by his standards it is. So, you know, unless he can find a way to dig and get back up there with Baylor and Strang, potentially, you know, if he could salvage a podium out of today, I think he would consider this one of those point salvaging rides that's important. But if Caleb Russell ends up 5th or worse, it's not going to go over well with him. I mean, I don't really know what else to say besides that. I mean,
that's about it, right.
He's incredibly hard on himself for good reason. You know, it's led to a lot of success. But I don't know if it was just one miscue that, you know, he was riding well. He was up there leading. And, you know, obviously, as Mikey said, they pointed out there, it was just a minor crash that didn't really hurt anything too badly. But it's really derailed the train, at least for now. Here we see the leader. That is Thad Duvall, but still, that is not Thad Duvall. That is Josh Strang that is actually we're seeing on screen, because that is Stu Baylor right behind him. So what we're seeing there is actually our 3rd and 4th place riders. Unless that was Sipes that had caught back up, but it did not look to be Sipes. That looked to be Baylor. We'll have to wait and see. And I wasn't thinking that rider had a water pack on. Thad Duvall does not wear a water pack, so I'm reasonably certain it was Strang. We'll see here. We do know Thad Duvall is our leader. We do know 2nd place is Ryan Sipes. 3rd place, last we had seen, was Josh Strang, and I believe that was them we just saw on screen. So Strang there in 3rd, and in 4th place is Stu Baylor. Baylor was about 4 seconds back of Strang at the finish line area, but I'll tell you what, when they came through on screen the last 2 times, you couldn't have slipped a piece of paper between the front wheel of Baylor and the rear wheel of Strang, and that means 2 things to me. Stu Baylor's on the charge, and an hour and 50 minutes into this, Stu Baylor's still feeling good.
No doubt. And an hour and 50 minutes into this, we're going to take a break from all that and let you know what's going on with all of our amateur stuff as we get set for the Mid-State Chevy Midway Report. What are you seeing, Johnny?
The 125. There he is. Our XC3 leader is Jason Thomas. We know he's running just inside the top 20 overall. A little bit of maybe drama away from this class with Jack Edmondson not being out there. We saw these 2 tooth and nail every race up until our last round. Jack Edmondson had a little bit of a get-off, broke his arm, and there we see Sipes. Okay. Yep, we missed Thad Duvall. He is still leading. Josh Strang, or I'm sorry, Ryan Sipes still there in second. But, yeah, Jason Thomas still doing a great job out there, really putting in the work and getting the job done. We just really like seeing those battles between him and Jack Edmondson.
Well, look at the senior A40 plus class after 3 laps of racing here at the Dunlop Tomahawk. It's all brought to you by your good friends at Midstate Chevrolet and Midstate Chevy, where they stack them deep and sell them cheap, the official truck provider of the GNCC Racing Nation. Taking a look at the senior A40 plus class here first today, the 755 of Jeffrey Odell from Bennington, Vermont, has a 2-minute lead over the 457 of Frank Messina out of Campbell Hall, New York. 51, Sean Remington out of New Salem, Pennsylvania is third. Carl LeBlanc, the 358 out of New Florence, PA, in fourth. Chris Levin out of Huntington, Pennsylvania is your fourth place ride. And fifth place, actually that was fifth place ride, Chris Levin. Then in sixth place, the 470 of Daniel Bam. Seventh place, the 465, Jeff Hart. Eighth place, Rob Brown, Moto Fro. Bob Bergman, the 135 at ninth, and Chris Boomba rounds out the top 10 senior A40 plus class riders. As we go to our next class, we take a look at the Open B class. Corey Jordan out of Gainesboro, Tennessee, leading Cody Stevens, the 331 from New Cumberland, West Virginia. Then we've got Nathan Ailes. Ailes actually, if memory serves me correct, out of Elgin, California, took the whole shot in this class as the 69 of James Harshberger, Fairmont, West Virginia, running in the number 4 spot after 2 laps. They got still working on 3 there for 4th place on back. Chandler in 5th. Then we got Jared Shiley in 6th. Dawson Dobson, the 492 in 7th. 8th is Matt Sorge, the 369. 9th place, the 366, and Michael McLean. And Owen Marriott, the 924, rounds out your top 10 Open B. 250B class, Tyler Martin out of Parker, PA, the 760 with a 14-second lead after 3 laps over Blaine Kimry. Kimry out of Charlotte, North Carolina, the 442 machine. 526, Dakota DeVore out of Yorksville, Ohio, 3rd. Michael DeLosa, 4th, out of Gillette, PA, on the 441. Brian Day, the 285, out of Norton, Massachusetts, rounds out your top 5. 6th place, Chase Sweda is running 6th and 7th is Zachary Knapp. 8th place, the 456, Jason Keaton. 9th, Ryan Hines. And rounding out the top 10, 621, Evan Stewart. As we will be welcoming, I believe, the great Steve Hatch in the studio here in just a few moments. But right now, 200B bike class, Noah Stewart, the number 597 from Martins Ferry, Ohio, leading the 374 of Chase Gosselin out of Pownell, Vermont. 3rd place, the 577, Seth Bevington out of Worthington, Pennsylvania. 4th place, 864, Brandon Keegan from Cole Center, PA. Those are all in with 3 laps complete. Still working on lap 3, Chase Colville, the 318 and 5th out of West Sunbury, PA. Then in 6th place, Lucas Finch, who won one of our trivia questions earlier this morning. Trent Robbins, the 436. 8th place is Keegan Jackwich. 9th place, Dawson Kellogg, the 249. And 10th place, 420, Gavin Ripkema. 4-stroke B lights class, Bolton B. Roth, the number 258 from Flathtown, North Carolina. A 5-minute, 27-second lead over Petrolia, Pennsylvania's Hunter Scott, the 954. Pfafftown, North Carolina. I can't even pronounce P-F-A-F-F-T-O-W-N. Anyway, New Kensington, PA is home to Adam Parker, the 371 in 3rd. Joe Spivey, the 333 from Collinsville, North Carolina, is 4th. 5th place, 708. Andrew Tinker from West Mifflin, PA. Benjamin Murdoch from Groton, New York, the 480 in 6th. And Chad LaFollette out of York, South Carolina. Little Lollipop, the 217 in 7th place position. Vet B class, Stephen Young out of Nelsonville, Ohio, leading Wayne Skidmore, the 361 from Mount Savage, Maryland. Gillette, Pennsylvania is home to William Bryan, the 485, who runs 3rd. As we look at those gaps, 48 between 1st and 2nd, and 56 seconds back to 3rd, and then another 2 seconds only back to Sean Royal, the 439 out of Sugar Grove, North Carolina, and 4th, Jordan Overfield, the 609 from Morgantown, West Virginia, rounds out the top 5. Then it's Wes Morris, the 453, and 6th and 7th, Travis Starkweather. 8th is Sean Morris, the 195. 9th, the 562 of Dave Yahtzee. And Joe Brown rounds out the top 10 aboard the 428 machine. Next up, the Vet. I believe we just did the Vet B class, so let's go to the Senior B class. Shane Watts. You know, I didn't even realize that Wattsy was even in the house, but former GNCC champion and ISDE overall winner, as well as I think maybe a World Enduro guy. Shane Watts out of Australia, now out of North Carolina. Out front, 10 minutes, 42 seconds in the senior B class. Wait a minute, B class? What's he doing in B class? Kelly Laborde might not be the same guy. 676 kind of seems weird, though. Tampa, Florida, he's second place. Third place then, the 434, Mark Promper out of Guys Mill, PA. Fourth place, 107, Jeffrey Flynn from Old Fields, West Virginia. Fifth place, 931, Darren Darmos out of Amherst, Ohio. Then in the sixth place position, Benjamin Law from Lowville, New York, the 403. Seventh place, 944, Gregory Richardson out of Verona, PA. Eighth place, 280, Stephen Gulick out of Fultonville, New York. Ninth place, 417, Jeff Layu out of Syracuse, New York. And the 423, Thomas Larkin out of Marathon, New York, rounds out the top 10. We got XC2 250 Pro class real quick. Josh Toth, Lane, Michael Benjamin, Kelly 1, 2, and 3. Craig DeLong is 4th. Michael Wachowski in 5th. Jesse Grom in 6th. Zach Hayes is 7th. Brandon Riordan in 8th. Ryder Lafferty in 9th. Trevor Barrett rounds out your top 10. FMF XC3 125 Pro-Am class. Jason Thomas with a 5-minute 57-second lead over Hunter Neworth. Mark Horesco is running 3rd aboard the 412. Nate Smith in 4th place aboard the 429. Then it's Devin Welch, the 311 in 5th, and Josh Adkins rounds out 6th place aboard the 475. Open A class, these guys do end for their 4th lap anytime now, but Levi Keller after 3 out of Bainbridge, Ohio was leading by 11.5 seconds over the 300 of Ben Parsons from Orlando, Florida. 393 Marcus Scott Cornell out of Slatersville Springs, New York, was 3rd. Ben Bowens, the 452 Batman out of Newark, New York, running in 4th place. Might remember him from Unadilla. 5th place, 67 Connor Smith from Denver, North Carolina. 6th place, 556 Dallas Micah from Berkshire, New York. 7th place, then Tyler Bruton out of Troutman, North Carolina. Then we got Kobe Beckert out of Zanesville, Ohio, 521. Grant Marriott of Ulster, PA in 9th. And Ryan Quinn, the 398 out of New Jersey, rounding out the top 10. Next we go to 250A. Cody Barnes leading that one out of Sterling, Illinois. 2-minute 53-second lead over Hunter Bush, the 293 out of Scioto, Pennsylvania. Jonathan T. Johnson, 981 out of Landrum, South Carolina, is 3rd after 4 laps. Still working on lap 4. Kyle Tino, the 459. He was 4th place out of Phillipsburg, New Jersey. 811 Simon Johnson out of North Bennington, Vermont, was 5th. And Chase Hayes was running 6th. Andrew Gross in 7th. 8th place, Matthew Kiefer. Brewer Crawley is 9th, and Marc-Andre Baudouin rounds out your top 10. We go next to 200A class. Jason Tino leading Johnny Manera. Jason Tino out of Phillipsburg, New Jersey on the 460. 357 Johnny Manera out of Millville, New Jersey. In 3rd place, 701 Hunter Reimer out of Saxonburg, PA. Cash Jacobs, the 95, is 4th out of Sarasota, Florida. Nathan Davis, the 463 from Vail, North Carolina, rounds out your top 5. Barry Fernandez in 6th. Adam Hartnagel in 7th. Brody Johnson is 8th. Nathan Hubbard in 9th. Eli Childers rounds out your top 10. Wow, 4-stroke A lights class. We should be about done. Yes, we are. We got Cole Madison leading out of Edmond, South Carolina, over Frederick Bluin out of Canada. Matt Tavani out of Savoy, Massachusetts is 3rd. Ryan Slopko out of Londonderry, Ohio, in 4th. And Connor Keegan out of Coal Center, PA, in 5th. James Murphy is 6th. 7th, Chris McManus. 8th, Russell Smith. 9th, Brendan Poling. Braden Moore rounds out your top 10 in the 4-stroke A lights class. Junior AB class, Andrew Boggs, the 44 out of Masontown, West Virginia, leading Lucas Towery, the 544, by about 49 seconds. Sean Cunningham, the 928 out of Knoxville, Tennessee, runs in 3rd. Ty Hampton, the 305 from Morrisville, North Carolina, is 4th. Jonathan Eklund, the 489, is 5th out of Houtzdale, PA. 6th place is 619, Aaron Studer from Cross Lanes, West Virginia. Then 7th is Josh Lewis. 8th, Nick Bush. 9th place, Kevin Simons, and Casey Belt rounds out your top 10. Final class to take a look at here. That A class, TJ McMahon out of Petersburg, New York, leading Sam Forrester out of Elkton, Maryland, only 24 seconds separating the two. Joe Marsh out of Indianola, PA, is 3rd. Matthew Quick out of Unadilla in New York here. The 404 got the whole shot in this class in the early lead. He is 4th place right now. Jared Hoffman, the 134 out of South Park, PA, in 5th. Then Buddy Barnes in 6th. Michael Ayan in 7th. James Stoddard in 9th. Jesse Arsenal 9th. 8th is Stoddard. 9th is Arsenal. And Robert Raymond rounds out your top 10. And that is it. The Mid-State Chevy Midway Report as we take a look at your overall top 10 in each class. Brought to you by Mid-State Chevrolet, where they stack them deep and sell them cheap. Check them out on the World Wide Web at midstatechevy.com. And almost 2 hours into this event now, Thad Duvall leading Ryan Sipes, Josh Strang in third, Stu Baylor in fourth, and Caleb Russell trying to break the curse of Tomahawk. Can he do it? Stick around. GNCC Live continues after this.
Introducing SoundArt, the world's first truly customizable, concealed, flat panel art speaker system. SoundArt is elegantly hidden behind a high-grade, textured canvas wrap, bringing together the best of sound and art. This innovative design allows for a truly invisible, high-fidelity sound experience without bulky speakers. SoundArt by Ansia. Your art never sounded so good.
Whether you are looking for a 150 class or 600 class deer, X Factor Whitetails can suit your needs. We offer guided weapon of choice hunts for all groups of all sizes. From the time you arrive at our location, you'll get the 5-star service. We boast the capability of sleeping over 20 people comfortably.
Razor, Ranger, Sportsman, Ace. If you live for the outdoors, there's a Polaris to match your passion. Confident, comfortable, capable. That's Ace. With a solo cockpit, automotive controls, independent suspension, all-wheel drive, and up to 45 horses of fuel-injected power. Calling it revolutionary would be an understatement. Polaris, the world leader in off-road innovation.
And welcome back to GNCC Live from Odessa, New York, and the Dunlop Tomahawk GNCC. Rodney Tomlin along with Mikey Waynes, Johnny Gallagher, and special guest today. Joining us now, Mr. Steve Hatch, former GNCC great, and of course, multi-time winner, and also a former just all-around great motocrosser too, man. You've raced a little bit of everything, I guess, across the years, but man, I know that you really found a great home here at GNCC.
Yeah, it's been an adventure for sure, and GNCC's been one of those home family-oriented sports with great sponsors, great families and people and racers and all you through. It's been just fantastic. Feels like a family to me for over 20 years, so it's great to be here, Rodney.
And what's great is the fact that you are still involved in the GNCC to this day. You retired from actual physically racing, I guess, probably close to a decade ago now, I guess, huh?
I try not to think about it, but yeah, it's been a while for sure. It's 2005 was my last pro season, so about 12 years. And
wow.
It's been a lot of fun, though. I found the same passion and mentoring, training, and coaching up-and-coming riders and top pro riders like Ryan Sipes and different ones. So
yeah, let's talk a little bit about that. I mean, we know, let's talk the top-tier riders, Ryan Sipes being one of those guys right now, right?
Yep. And in the past, I've worked some with Caleb Russell and then Josh Toth, who's obviously been killing it this year, and Ben Kelly and a bunch of them, Taylor Robert. So there's been a ton of riders along the path that I've helped. Obviously, first and foremost, once I got out of racing, I kind of said for 1 year I'm going to help out some New Yorkers. They happened to be Nate Caney, Paul Carpenter, who was a motocross supercrosser, and Bob Canary. So those three, I kind of just said, hey, for free for a year, I'm going to help you. And they all did better in racing. So I kind of thought, hey, there might be something to this that I can help out in a second career. And I love it. You know, I think I do maybe 10% of helping the riders get to, you know, their ability, if you will, meaning they already do 90% of the work, obviously. But if I can help streamline, and I've made a lot of those mistakes myself, educate them and make smart decisions and try not to make the same mistake twice. And, you know, I've made enough mistakes for a lot of them to help them get the whole shot on that. So it's been a lot of fun, and it's great to see them get their optimal performance.
And you're actually based out of Western New York, right?
Absolutely, yep. We're real close. Dryden, New York, which is close to Ithaca. I'm like 45 minutes to this race is the closest one, so really close.
Wow, I bet you wish we had this race back whenever you were racing.
Yeah, I've told a few people that today. I'm like, wow, they never had this one. We had Unadilla for a few years before I retired, but it's great to be this close, and you know, the turnout now, and with Winnoa and all the series, and the GNCC's coming back here. Really first class, and I'm really impressed with it for being, you know, out west for a bunch of years while I was training.
Okay, Steve, I don't live in New York, but yet I still want Steve Hatch's advice and training recommendations. What do I do?
Yeah, actually, I've got a lot of different ways on my website. You can actually do that. Kind of one way that I've put together is a whole online training program. So it has 80 video clips of all different things, from rocks to hills to logs to racing to motocross,
And then I have 80 documents that are on nutrition, mental, training, physical, hydration, you name it. So that's $119 online, which is pretty simple and easy, and that's an online membership for a year. So that's a real general one. I also do, obviously, clinics around the country. The last few weeks I was in South Carolina, Texas, California, heading to Colorado next week, so I'm all over the place with clinics and different stuff.
Did you need an assistant or anything?
I might actually. So it's fun, but they can come here or I can go there also.
Man, that's awesome. And Steve, it's so great that you still have so much involvement in GNCC and you're such an instrumental part behind the scenes. And anybody that wants to get hooked up with you, SteveHatchRacing.com, right?
Absolutely. I appreciate it. Yeah, that's
Hey, man, stick around right here, right now. I do want to talk to you a little bit. We're 2 hours and say 5-6 minutes into this race now. We got Thad Duvall, Ryan Sipes, Josh Strang, Stu Baylor, Caleb Russell, our top 5. And you kind of been watching this all unfold here today, man. And what's your take on what's going on right now? I mean, in a nutshell, what Steve Hatch is thinking about this race and what's going to possibly we're going to be faced with over this last hour?
So, yeah, great question. So every race is like a chess match to me. And my daughter Samantha and I were out mountain biking, watching the guys. The thing with this racetrack, and everyone's different, you have to come up with a race strategy. This one's really, in the open fields, obviously a little silty and dusty. In the woods, it's pretty technical and rooty and ruddy. Not terrible, but it's very different on getting past lappers. So one of the key factors with all these guys, there's Ryan there, and we just had the talk right before the actual race saying lappers are going to be a big one. Pick the good lines, try to stay to the left or the right of the tree roots and all of the rocks and slippery stuff. So it's going to be a big one. I think it's going to come to play the last couple laps. You know, the lappers, who gets through them clean, as well as who's attacking and making the least amount of mistakes for sure.
Well, we haven't seen the great successes out of Ryan this year. He's been kind of up and down. What has been going on with him? I mean, it's been a consistent move forward, it seems like. But, I mean, today it just seems like a whole different person out there.
You know, I think it's a few things. You know, I think obviously he came out in South Carolina swinging. He's fit. He's really came off the offseason good, even after that injury last year towards the end. But, you know, keeping it fun, keeping that balance. We always talk about it. You know, every Monday I talk to my guys and put their program together Tuesday for the next week. And with Ryan, he's unbelievably talented, as we all know. It's really putting a whole race together. He's got the speed in spots, but he makes a few mistakes. So I told him, you know, learning this, and he has obviously got some podiums and seconds last year. One of the tricks is putting the whole race together and just sticking to it and not making big mistakes, especially early. And that's kind of the first couple years coming into this. I said, you know what, you were basically one of the top, you know, in realm professional hockey players. Now you're a professional figure skater. They're both on skates, but it's different. So
right.
Motocross, supercross, and off-road. And I said, you know, you need to pick better lines, look ahead more, be better with lappers, which they don't have to deal with much in supercross, motocross, right? So all those factors really come to play, and he's really obviously a quick learner, and he wants it so bad he can taste it. So it's been a tough, you know, road in a certain way, but he's, you know, really pushing, and, you know, it looks like he's having a great day, and it's really just putting one day together. All these guys are so talented, but it really takes, you know, putting it together, and he's had a few issues here and there, but looks like he's having fun and riding good.
Well, we just saw Caleb Russell, the number 1, who is at least a 5th place position holder right now, as we are 2 hours and 8 minutes, 2 hours 9 minutes into this race. Thad Duvall checked in a couple of minutes ago. He had a 30-second lead, 29 seconds over Ryan Sipes. Josh Strang checked in at under 44 seconds behind him. Stu Baylor was just under 10 seconds behind him. And here is Caleb Russell making his way into the finish line. And, of course, 30 seconds is what he was a lap ago after lap number 4. And then, of course, we are looking right now to see where Caleb Russell is. I'm beginning to think that this might be a little further back than the 30 seconds that was a lap ago. And looking at Caleb's bike and the way things are flopping around there, you know, we saw that in the pit stop there just a little bit ago. So we know that maybe Caleb's just like, at this point, like, wow, I just better finish this race and get whatever points I can, because this curse might be more real than what we would say. It was a lot of hype coming into it, but now after this 3rd year of it, I have to begin to wonder.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, Rodney. It seems like, you know, you have tracks that are just you know, good to you, and other tracks that just seems like the harder you try to like be perfect and not have it bite you. You know, Caleb looks like obviously he crashed and a few different things. And jumping back real quick to the Ryan Sipes deal, him going out to Colorado and winning the 125
you know, fun class, support class last weekend in Colorado. He was obviously stoked and laughing and having fun.
There you go.
And we just I just had a bunch of the SHR riders on Thursday and Friday doing pre-training here, about 8 of them, and trials on Friday with Ryan and all the guys. So I think keeping it fun's huge. And he was laughing, and that's all we said today: have fun, and then you ride good. You know?
There you go. Maybe that was what he needed. And we got Jordan Ashburn in the pits right now, changing rear brakes, it sounds like, and you know, not hearing a lot of issues about little things like that. But man, I mean, you get dusty conditions, you get a rock in them. I mean, there's mud and stuff. I mean, there's a lot of variables out there that can destroy brake pads and things like that today.
Yeah, you're right. I think it's a technical track, so it's pretty easy, as you can tell. You saw Caleb's front fender. Obviously, it's pretty easy between lappers and tree roots. And the slipperiness of it, and yet the speed going through here. When you get it wrong, it can definitely break some parts or bikes or bodies.
Update on the overall scores right now. Caleb Russell, we last knew, checked in at 5th place overall. Well, Josh Toth, the XC2 250 Pro Class leader, just checked in as well, and he is now 5th place overall, dropping Caleb Russell back to 6th. Now here we are in the beta pits where Jordan Ashburn is having those rear brakes changed right now, and former buddy of yours, Rodney Smith, kind of the brand ambassador there at Beta, man. A whole new team and a new look and feel to a company that's been trying to really break into the off-road racing world. And I think this year, the last couple of years, they've really made some huge strides, and having Rodney Smith as a part of that's been monumental as well.
Sure. You know, Rodney's been around this a long time, won a lot of championships, knows how to put it all together. So I think Beta's obviously working on, you know, good race team and good strategy, one bite at a time, and it should be neat.
989, Thad Duvall checking in there just a moment ago, and as we said, we should be somewhere in the neighborhood of about 30 seconds back to Ryan Sipes. We are 2 hours and 13 minutes now into this race, and as we know, we have 5 laps down. I believe the 2-lap board is out. This is has been determined to be a 7-lap race according to the lap times and things like that. So they did all the figuring and calculations, and they say that the 7 laps will put us in closest to that 3-hour mark that we're looking for out there. So we still got a little ways to go. 2-lap board is out. Duvall, Sipes, Strang, we're starting to see a little bit of separation amongst those top 3, but what I think is more interesting is how tight things are from 4th on back to the 3rd place position. Josh Strang right now, or Stu Baylor, is only 9 seconds back behind him. Caleb is 1 minute and 24 seconds back, but I think the real one we got to worry about right now is the number 206, the leader of the XC2 250 Pro Class. He just checked in with a 26:08 lap time. His elapsed time was 2 hours and 8 minutes and 49 seconds. We'll basically call it 2 hours, 8 minutes and 50 seconds. And that means that 35 seconds ahead of him on adjusted time right now is Stu Baylor. Looking at the difference in lap times, a 26:18, that's 10 seconds difference. If Josh Toth stays at this pace, picks it up a little bit more, and if Stu Baylor drops any momentum whatsoever, we might see Toth inching closer to a podium position finish. And remember, when he gets to Baylor, he's only 10 seconds from an overall podium at that point. So if the fire lights here in the last couple of laps, Steve Hatch, we might see another, and it's been a while, but we might see an XC2 guy on the overall podium whenever it's all said and done.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. Josh is one of my riders that I've been working with last year and all this year since November, and he's a great kid, talented, obviously, and amazing as far as what he's doing there, as far as the ability to put together the mental, the training he's put in, the homework since this winter. You can tell this year, obviously, he's been fast and fit, and it wouldn't surprise me at all. He's been up playing with us since Wednesday, doing, you know, the trials and volleyball and fun and all this stuff at my house. And so just a great kid and great family. So I think.
Wait a minute, you have fun, you play volleyball, do all that kind of stuff, and you get a I do want to be your assistant, Steve.
Be the partner, right? Let's figure this out.
Yeah. I'll take pictures. I'll announce you as you come in. Da, 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 ladies and gentlemen, the great Steve Hatch. But anyway, no, that's awesome, man. I mean, and it's got to be feeling good for you to see the successes of your program working out here.
Absolutely. I mean, I vicariously live it through them now to a certain degree, you know, and I know what they're going through with with the heartaches and the pain of, you know, the agony of defeat, as well as the injuries and how hard you push yourself physically and mentally, and to see that race or the, you know, results come together like Josh this year and Ryan today and different ones, and they're all obviously great riders, everybody in this whole sport, and great people. But it's fun to, you know yourself, if you put in your best effort as well as your best ride and put it all together, it just feels like $1 million, and it's not that easy, you know, and especially 3 hours. It's hard enough to do it for a, you know, 30-minute motocross. Try, you know, times that by 6 or by, you know.
That's one of the most impressive things to me, because I mean, these guys are on for 3 hours solid, and they have a lot of adverse terrain and things to work through, as we see Thad Duvall working his way through right now on the 989. Again, this continuing to roll along still with that 30-plus second lead. He turned to 25:32, 20-second faster lap time than Ryan Sipes that last time around. Pitting strategies, we start to think about that with 2 laps left to go right now, and I have to tend to think that Thad Duvall might be on the positive side of that, though he may need to pit one more time. And I don't know if Ryan pitted that last time. I can't remember how the pitting strategy or how the pitting went for Ryan. But if Ryan doesn't have to pit and Thad say does, it looks like that Thad actually has enough of a gap. He should be able to get a pit, get a drink, and get on out of there before Ryan even thinks about coming into the pro pits.
Yeah, good point. You know, what Rodney and I used to talk about, out of sight, out of mind, you know. So if you can see somebody or feel like you can catch them or see them on the grass track, you get the eye of the tiger and you can attack more. But if you don't see them, you know, we called it out of sight, out of mind on purpose. So we try to run and hide and break the mental confidence of the next rider all the time. So it looks like I just kind of did a quick physical, you know, check, and it looks like about 30 seconds still from Thad to Ryan. So that's plenty of time to get in, get a splash, and get back out. And I think, you know, the other thing with today, and I was telling my guys all week long and saying, you know, it's going to be a hot day potentially. So this last hour is where you can separate the people that have been hydrated and nutritioned and rested, or the ones that overdid it, because right now is what will show this next hour.
That's a very good point. You know, I mean, we have had 1 or 2, I think, races that we would consider hot. But the thing about it is that the way it's worked, we'd have a hot race and a really cold or wet race or something crazy like that. So nobody, I don't think anyone's really gotten acclimated to the hot temperatures, because the whole eastern United States, I don't think that we've seen a consistent, like, span of days where it's been hot consecutively, maybe other than Florida or Georgia or Alabama or something like that. And if you're not down there, then you've been enjoying a very mild spring elsewhere. And days like today, even though we're talking only 80s, that's quite a bit of a difference compared to what we're used to. The plus on this, though, is the elevation that we're at and the constant flow of air, and that's going to be the saving grace for anybody in these warmer conditions today.
I agree 100%. Yeah, they lucked out in reality. If that wind wasn't going there and it wasn't a little bit of breeze, it would feel way hotter. And, you know, I think one of the things that most people don't take into account, living in Arizona for 17 years, I always said in the middle of the summer, and it's 120 degrees, it's ridiculous. You just feel like you want to melt or jump off a cliff, you know? But it basically would take about 50% of my energy compared to what I'd normally have, you know, as far as just testing it for training on a mountain bike or riding the dirt bike or different things. Zaps about 50% when you're that hot and that hard for your body to stay cool.
And there's another thing to think about. Even though we do got that light breeze, the physical activity that you're going through, you're going to get that core temperature up. You're going to be hot regardless of whether the wind's blowing or not. So that's a pretty good point. Add an extra 10 degrees, 5, 8 degrees, whatever it is, that's what they're used to. Then all of a sudden it does become pretty huge. And the longer the race wears on, like you said, man, the more they wear out, the more, I think, the bigger problem they could present. So here we are, man. I guess that question will be answered here real soon, right? Ryan Sipes seems to be doing okay with it right now.
Yeah, you know, we try to, you know, make sure these guys get all the hydration and nutrition. And, you know, I would say if we could have a measurement just like you do on your vehicle of your body being full or empty or half full, to do that on your, obviously the hydration side, to know how hydrated a body is, or nourished, or sleep, or balanced with work and, you know, pushing hard and not pushing too hard. So there's so many things that seem almost givens, but they come to play in a 3-hour race where you're pushing your body that hard.
Man,
so to have any of those off, it's a big deal.
That's true, very true. Very good points coming from Steve Hatch, former GNCC great, as we are watching the Tomahawk GNCC presented to you this week by our good friends at Dunlop Tires. I want to say thanks to Rob. We've given away a lot of great prizes today, and just thanks to Dunlop Tires for all that they've done. Right now, if you're watching, We got Thad Duvall leading, Ryan Sipes, Josh Strang in third, Stu Baylor is fourth, Josh Toth rounds out your top 5. Caleb Russell has now dropped to 6. As far as our top amateurs right now, we're looking all the way back to 21st place, where 258 class leader Cody Barnes from Sterling, Illinois is looking at the possibility of the top amateur overall. Will he be able to do it? What will the heat do to these guys in this last 45 minutes or so of racing? Stick around, come back. GNCC Live continues after this.
GNCC is Bald Eagle 50 cal, cowboy boots, diesel trucks, Copenhagen, Bush Light kind of men.
I'm a sore loser.
I'm a sore loser. Losing is not an option for me.
Be the best.
The best. The best.
You have to have the best equipment under the hood.
That's why I only use
Cometic products in my engines.
Cometic gasket.
Cometic gasket.
Cometic gasket.
Cometic gasket, a superior quality gasket
for those of us who demand the highest level of performance.
I'm Barry Hawk, 8-time GNCC champion, current Coastal Racing team manager. Coastal Racing depends on Evans coolant because there is a lot of variables in GNCC racing. Toughest, most demanding sports there is. From my experience, without a doubt, Evans is the way to go. We have it in all of our race bikes, our race ATVs, our UTVs. It is for sure, without a doubt, a must on our race team. The pros use Evans coolant, and so should you.
Good afternoon. Welcome back to GNCC Live here on RacerTV.com. Rodney Tomlin along with my protege here, Mr. Mikey Waynes, and of course the great Steve Hatch in with us. Also Johnny Gallagher is in with us. Want to let you folks know that Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Championships are going on, and they got an off weekend this weekend, but next weekend we are going to be live on MAV TV with the High Point National in Morgantown, actually that's Mount Morris, Pennsylvania, just north of Morgantown, West Virginia. Be live on MAV TV at 1 o'clock with the first moto, and then at 3:30 on NBC. That's the actual NBC network, not NBC Sports. This is broadcast TV, folks. This is huge. We're on NBC. High Point National 450 Moto 2 is going to be live on NBC, not NBC Sports. That means that everybody in America that's got a TV and can get aerial reception can get that channel. I think that is awesome. NBC Sports will be back with 4:30 High Point National of the second moto live on NBC Sports. So that's pretty cool. So 1 o'clock MAV TV, Moto 1 of the 450s. Then, of course, actually, it's both of them. It's the 250 and the 450s. Then at 3:30, you can switch over to NBC, watch the 450 Moto 2 live. At 4:30, then you can switch over to NBC Sports Network and watch the 250 Moto live. That gets a little confusing, but go on the line, Lucas Oil Motocross Championships. They'll have all the details on that. Also, Saturday, June 24th, we'll have the Tennessee National, and we hope to see you folks tuning in for that one if you can't make it down to beautiful Bluntville, Tennessee. So check them out, NBC Sports Network. It is an absolutely beautiful place there at Muddy Creek, as Chelsea Taylor is telling us. We actually were there just last weekend with an ATV Motocross National where Joel Hetrick finally got in the winning way, taking a Moto Sweep win there for the folks there at Phoenix Racing on his Honda. So pretty exciting stuff there. We're going to get a chance to see it on the 24th on the two-wheel side of things. So right now we are watching what's going on out here. That looks like a putt-putt right there, and that looks like a red background number plate. Who is that? Is that? Okay, that is just a red background number plate. That is not one of our XC1 Pro Class riders, just someone that maybe race another series with that particular background. But regardless, trudging along. And this right here, I think, is a good indication of what this does to the general layman that goes out there and races. I mean, he's still got a good speed going. He's still rolling along, still having fun out there. But you can see that rider isn't pushing it like he was whenever the green flag waved there a little over a couple hours ago for him. It's the heat. I think you're right, Steve Hatch. I mean, I think that has a lot to do with it. We're about 7.5 minutes out from a lap 6 complete. I believe that will put us into a white flag situation, which will roll out onto lap number 7. We are 2 hours and 26 minutes now into this battle. And I guess now might be a good time to start thinking about what do you think is going to happen here, Mikey Waynes? I know we asked Steve there just a few moments ago. He thinks that heat's going to have a lot to do with it, and I'm sure that you're thinking of the same mindset. But whenever we dig a little bit deeper, what are you seeing it? Because this is a lot different look to the top 5 than what we're used to seeing normally here in the GNCC.
It is, and I think honestly, I think this is almost, I don't want to say like round 6, but I think this race 2 has got Thad's name written all over it. You know, the last time he checked in, we saw the pit board said check out, and we're getting a shot at that's Thad right there.
I tell you, man, it's got to be. And I was talking to him this morning, and you maybe you can back me up on this one, Steve. You know, normally whenever you have a winner, like the first time they win a race in the season or for quite some time, it was Thad's actual 4th race win, but first time he had won in quite some time. And when you look at the conditions, you know, you look at it and say, oh, well, it was a mud race, you know, crazy things happen. That's, you know, maybe he's just a little better in the mud. But the wild thing about that is I never got that feeling at all. You know, to me, it was just another race day for Thad, and he excels in all sorts of conditions. And the win with the National Enduro backing that up the week later, and then, of course, he comes in here with a head full of confidence, and rightfully so. You know, a lot of people might have been thinking, well, maybe it was just the mud. Thad wasn't even thinking that. That wasn't even a consideration in his mind, and I don't think anybody else's. Thad did say, I want to beat Caleb straight up. That's what I do want to do. That is my goal. But he knows that he is capable of winning these races, and he came in here with a full mindset and potential, not only potential, but the idea that this was his race to win, and it was going to take somebody to knock him off the top step, and look where it's got him right now.
Yeah, you know, confidence is such a big thing, and I think even if you look back to obviously the beginning of the season, the confidence is such a big role. He was really close to Caleb. I mean, the first one we didn't see, obviously, because he was some issue in South Carolina, but we know, obviously, there goes Ryan right there, that he was fast in Florida, he was fast in Georgia, he was fast in all of them, right with Caleb, and that's a big deal mentally. I know he didn't beat him, but there's a few of those that could have went either way, so I think that's such a big factor. He was on the verge and so mad, and he's been doing the work. You can tell even looking at his body, he's been training, he's focused, he's got the factory ride, he wants it, and I think, you know, I think Caleb's got a big, you know, I think obviously Caleb's got the advantage with so many championships, but in the same, Thad's really hungry, and he's doing great, and it shows him with all these wins and all these different disciplines. Like he's been basically undefeated since that Indiana race in all the series.
Right, exactly. And bringing that into the day, man, if he can carry it through the last lap plus, 5 minutes or so that they have before they show up for the white flag here, or 5 minutes in the last lap, if he can continue to win that, you're right. And, man, what kind of confidence will that be for him rolling into Snowshoe? When you look at the big picture here, going to West Virginia, that's Thad's hometown. He always seems to do very well there. And it looks like we might have a new third place ride, as Stu Baylor has appeared to have gotten around the 114 of Josh Strang. So just an update on that. But as I was saying, heading into Snowshoe, man, this is some great momentum for Thad Duval.
Yeah, you know, I mean, everybody says, well, it's, you know, you like this one or whatever in New York. You're a New Yorker, they're going to say, well, it's this backyard. But Thad's good at everything, and the more technical it is and, you know, muddy and rocky and everything else, he's unbelievable. And I mean, he kind of knows that, and I even, you know, read all the stuff on these guys, and I think he said somewhere, like, I don't actually like mud, I'm just actually really good at mud. So I think it's one of those things that sometimes you don't even have to like it, you just excel at it. So I think he's going to be solid there, too, I'd have to respect.
Man, this is really changing the face of this championship. When we look at it, 26 points is all that separated the two riders coming into this round. It was a 50-some point race or something last time, you know, or a lot more than that, and chipping it down like that this halfway through the season, I mean, 26 points sounds like a lot, but whenever you're looking at the momentum that Thad has on his side, that's not a lot, man. Especially if things like this continue to happen to Caleb Russell. He's back in 6th place right now. There's going to be several points gained here. It may not be the full 26, but it'll be enough that's going to make Caleb start to scratch his head a little bit.
Yep. He's still got to put it together. I mean, that's obviously Caleb's been the champ for a reason for years, and you know he's smart. He's still riding around out there. Obviously, a picture of him right now, and one of those things is, it's not the days. I remember talking with Rodney Smith about it. It's one of those things that you don't win the championships on your good days, because those are good days. Those are easy. It's the bad days. Instead of getting 8th, you get 7th, or instead of getting 26th, you get 21st. You just keep digging away, and those days you kind of try to limit how bad they are. So you're going to have days you win and you're always on the podium. The bad days are the ones that you win the championship. And Caleb's strong with that, and he knows how to get it done. And he can have a lot of issues like he even has had today.
A lot,
and still be up in the top 5.
Yeah, and that's pretty impressive. And you look at that, most people like myself would probably have fallen apart, at that particular point. And 5th or 6th place wouldn't even be possible at that. I'd be like 16th or 20th or something crazy like that, because I'd be playing those mind games. But like you say, seasoned at this. He's a 4-time GNCC champion. He's going for that historic 5 GNCC titles. He's also 2 wins away from capturing, or at least tying, the all-time wins record on motorcycle with Scott Summers. I mean, he's got a lot going on. And if you think about it, could that be a lot of what's going on in Caleb? Does he have too much going on, too much to think about? Is there too much outside pressure? I mean, he may not be thinking about it, but you got people like me saying it, people talking, writing about it, people, hyping this and hyping that. Do those little things start to seep in on those guys and start to play mind games with them any?
I don't think so for Caleb. I used to work with him when he was just coming into the XC2 class, and great rider, great kid, and he's sharp and smart, and he has very good race etiquette, as well as very good, obviously, speed, fitness, everything together, and obviously amazing on a dirt bike. So when you put those combos, I don't think so. I think, I think in plain and simply, I think Thad's just got a little more fit and a little faster this year, and he's right there. So I think that's the bigger difference.
And right now, Thad Duvall working his way toward the finish line. We are less than a minute out, a scheduled 6th lap complete here. We'll be seeing the white flag come out next time around, and next time they come through the scoring barrels here. Thad Duvall, according to timing and scoring, is due in, like we said, in about 30 seconds. And I think we may be watching him work his way through some of that lap traffic right now to try and thread some of those needles and get into a little better position rolling into the closing moments of this next to the last lap. Again, if I'm calculating this right, we'll be seeing a white flag come out at 25 minutes on to the 2 hours and 33 minutes. We'll be right at that 3-hour mark, maybe 2 hours, 58, 57 minutes, man. That's, wow, that's going to be a long day. And I say, well, you say, well, it's always a 3-hour race. It's close to a 3-hour race, and oftentimes it's at 2:45, 2:46. 15 minutes may not seem like a long time, but as you pointed out, man, the last hour really takes its toll. So if in that last hour there's an extra 15 minutes you're not necessarily banking on or used to, that's a monumental 15 minutes of racing that you're going to have to go through.
You're right, Rodney. I think the other thing that we don't always think of, but if you break it down even farther, if it's the last couple laps, I always said that's winning time in a GNCC, right? Because that separates the ones that train or the ones that are fit and ready for that last 2 hours or the last 2 laps of it. So the first 2 hours, everybody shakes each other out, not that they're not pinning it. But now you take into the factor if the hydration's off, or if you're mentally, I call it blinking, where you're not totally present because you're a little bit tired as well as physically exhausted, and maybe, on the drinking side starting to get some cramps and dehydrated. Very, very big deal. So what happens is then you'll miss your line. Instead of by a millimeter, you miss it by an inch, and you're on your head at this speed. Of these guys are a lot of racers. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. The more fast and fit and better you are, the more you're going to stay strong the entire race. If you're not, the place that you're going to suffer is the last lap or two, and you're going to start hitting the rough stuff, and it's twice as rough at the end, and hot and everything else. So it all plays the factor. And then how mentally tough are you to push through it, and how can you be smart and still pick good lines around the lappers and not hit all the holes and everything else.
Well, Thad Duvall looks strong. 25-37 on that last time around. A 26-16 for Ryan Sipes. The gap has now dropped to a 108.3 second gap between first and second place. And we wait on third place in what we think is the new third place ride in Stu Baylor, the 514. And we'll also be keeping an eye on Josh Toth as Baylor makes his way through the babyface Baylor right there. That's the sugar beard that he's got going on. But there goes Baylor through, I believe. Let's double check that. Stu Baylor, 42 seconds back at 26.05. Turning a little bit faster lap time than Ryan Sipes, but I don't think Ryan has a whole lot to be worried about unless he starts making mistakes here in this final lap. As we look back to the fourth place position, I didn't know if Josh Strang had checked in, but looks like the toll may have been taken on Josh Strang, and you know he's going through the finish right now, and I don't know if it's related to his recovery process with the ankle or leg injury there from the ISDE last year, but he knew it was going to be a long and lengthy process. Last week and last couple of races at this time, we've seen him actually pushing forward. We've seen him pushing forward up until this point. Now, it's not that he's really dropping back, but we're not seeing the push that we have seen in the past, so you have to question what's going on, if that is an issue at this point or not.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, you know, these guys are smart, too. They're getting the pit boards. They're getting, you know, plus whatever he is back to Stu and how far he is away from Thad. So you have to start making a very educated decision to go, okay, how far is it and how much do I'm willing to roll the dice, if you will.
And another thing, too, with that being said, you know, Josh may not be feeling any issues at all with the ankle or the leg or anything at this point. Again, like you said, last hour, the heat and the conditioning, and Josh hasn't been able to condition himself as much as he would if he was 100%. So that might be a little bit of the what's happening out there right now as well.
Sure. When you're injured, and especially with like a foot injury, the upper body's easier. I mean, none of them are good injuries, obviously, but you can still run, you can still pedal on a bicycle, you can do a lot of cardio stuff. I have a lot of people, there's Josh Toth coming. I have a lot of people that once they get hurt with their lower body, I get them to get the old Schwinn Airdyne, which is the one that used to have the back and forth, so they can still do the cardio and have that with a leg that broke or whatever's happening. So it's harder to get that cardio, though, because you think about it, a bicycle or walking or jogging you can do even with a broken arm. So it's a bigger one to come back from. You're absolutely right.
No doubt about it. But, you know, still my hat's off to Josh Strang and that former GNCC champion. Accomplishments that he's been able to make. Josh Toth checking in physically 5th and time-adjusted 5th on the racetrack right now. 26:38 lap time for him. A lapse time, 2 hours, 35 minutes, 28 seconds. That's about 40 seconds, 41 seconds off pace of Josh Strang right now, who checked in just a little bit ahead of him. There is the number 1 of Caleb Russell checking in. We'll see where that's going to put him in the overall 6th, physically 6th overall. So now Josh Toth has not only gotten around Caleb Russell on time adjustments, he's gotten around Caleb Russell physically. That's got to be a big boost of confidence for Josh Toth at this point, even knowing that Caleb is likely having some struggles of some sort today.
Sure. All that's the mental confidence you get when you catch any of those guys, especially from the XT2 class. You feel like, wow, you know, I think coming up through the ranks like everybody, you feel like a lot of them are supermen behind the scenes, and you're like, I'm not worthy or I don't have that speed. And Josh has obviously put it together this year, but it's, you know, it just empowers you and makes you know that you're doing the right homework in between the races, so the races are easy.
Thad Duvall all by himself on a cloud, if you will, here at the Dunlop Tomahawk GNCC. I would say it's deja vu from a few weeks ago at Peru, but as much as it seems the same with him being out front and out leading so much, it's not the same, man, because he backed it up. He did exactly what he needed to do, and talk about a confidence boost. This is going to be the one that is going to make it tough for Caleb Russell for the rest of 2017. Not only on the part of Thad Duvall, but look at Ryan Sipes. How much confidence has that rider gained here today as we're looking at the ISDE coming up here in a few months, and this rider couldn't begin to start peaking any better time than what he is right now, because he, again, was chosen for the ISDE from what I understand, right?
Absolutely. And, you know, right after this on Monday, all the guys, the trophy, junior trophy, and the women are going down to Millfield, Ohio, Jeff Russell's dad's place, to do again the training camp for the 6 days. And I'll be down there too, just because I work with a lot of these guys and want to help out and donate my time for them. But it'll be great. You know, they've done so good winning it. Obviously last year, junior trophy, we've won it before, and these guys have been winning it the last few years. But having Ryan win the overall, Taylor Robert win the overall, another one of the good riders, worked with a lot, and as well as they're really putting in some fast ladies trying to get that going. So knowing that, I think, in my opinion, the perfect 6 days would be winning the trophy, winning the junior, winning the women's, winning the club, which they generally could. Last year they did with Josh Toth and Ben Kelly and a bunch of them. They did unbelievable in the club stuff. So America's like really coming back with almost the country, like we used to be so dominant in the motocross divisions for years. So it's really cool to see, and, you know, doing the effort. And, you know, Auntie, obviously, and a ton of work from everybody is really putting in it. It's taken years to build, but they're doing it right.
They are. And speaking of right, you want to help them get there the right way. We got something really cool going on. It is the Well, the annual golf fundraiser there for the ISDE from our good friends there at KTM. And I know we got some details and information about that we want to pass along to you. And it goes a little something like this. It'll be taking place at the Snowshoe Mountain Resorts Raven Golf Club on Friday, June 23rd. That's the Friday before the Snowshoe GNCC, a unique golf tournament that will assist the team's effort to represent USA at the 2017 running of International 6 Days Enduro, ISDE. This year going to be ran in France. The golf tournament will begin with a shotgun start at 9 a.m. on Friday morning. Will run until approximately 3:30. Participants will get to play 18 holes of golf on a championship caliber golf course, ranked the #2 public golf course in the state of West Virginia by Golf Week magazine. Many of the USA Trophy riders will be participating in the event, which will provide a unique opportunity to spend time with some of the most talented off-road racers in the world. Each team is made up of 4 players and space is limited, so get your team registered early by completing the online registration form. Individual participants are also welcome and will be assigned to a team at random. The cost is $100 per person, which includes a meal at the end of the round of golf. All proceeds of the event will go directly to the USA ISDE team to help fund the transportation of our athletes to the prestigious event. If you have questions about the event, would like to learn more on how to donate to the team, contact events at KTM USA and give them an email. Pretty cool stuff right there. And good to have Steve Hatch in here. He knows so much about it. He knows so much about these riders, like that rider going there, Thad Duvall, in the 989, having the minute 8 lead over Ryan Sipes, who has a 42-second lead over Stu Baylor. Josh Strang back another 27 seconds or so in 4th, and then it's Josh Toth rounding out the top 5. Caleb Russell trying to salvage what he can today here in the hills of New York. Lane Michael is 7th place right now. He is the XC2 250 Pro 2nd place right. Grant Baylor is up to 8th place overall. Benjamin Kelly, who is 3rd in the XC2 250 Pro class, he's 9th overall. Ricky Russell rounds out the top 10. As we look to our top amateur right now, we still see that with 5 laps complete, we'll know more after 6, but Cody Barnes out of Sterling, Illinois was the leader in the overall amateur non-XC class racers. 2nd place behind him was Hunter Bush, who is out of Scioto, Pennsylvania. 3 minutes and 2 seconds back, but believe it or not, 28th place. He's still good for 2nd in the amateur overall. And 3rd in that class, Jonathan Johnson, 30th overall, is looking at the possibility of that 3rd in the overall standings for top amateurs. But he's got company coming out of Cole Madison from the 4-stroke A lights class, and there is about a minute or so that separates them. So the next lap and a half for these 2 riders are going to tell the tale of the tape of whether or not they'll be able to get on the podium for the American Cargo's podium presentations coming up at the conclusion of today's event. That's a mouthful right there, American Cargo's. But, you know, it's good to have those kind of folks. I mean, they like to award our top amateurs, the non-XC 1, 2, or 3 riders. But nonetheless, a wonderful opportunity for guys to actually get showcased and be a part of something great, especially here in the great state of New York. And I think when a rider gets done with the day's race, this is one of the days that you're like, wow, that was more than I expected. It was not what I expected at all, but wow, what a great day, and I feel accomplished. I think that this is, riders are going to feel something after this one.
Yeah, I mean, this is a track, and growing up, 45 minutes from here and basically riding this type of terrain, you can never settle. It's one of those tracks that will bite you as soon as you think you've got it. As soon as you miss that tree root by an inch or hit it differently, it'll kick you sideways or throw you down. And it is slippery. It looks like ego dirt in the woods. It's really not. And the ruts are getting deep and soft. So as fast as they are going, it's one of those you can never really let your guard down. So you have to be in full attack rage mode the whole time, as well as picking really good lines. And as you can tell, watching these riders on the TV screen, it's really rough, and lines are 80% of it here.
Well, about 14 minutes away from what we expect to be the checker flag here, and we expect that Thad Duvall will be the rider that will be taking those checkers, but still a long road to hoe as we are some 2 hours and 45 minutes now into this race event, and we again with 13 minutes tacked onto that, we'll be right at the 257, 258. It's just under the 3-hour race, and I tell you, folks, it doesn't mean that, you know, when we come to the conclusion of a great race day like this, and we're all sitting around and we're like, wow, that was just crazy, that was amazing. You know, the thing that we got to remember is that it didn't start out with a pro race like this. It's been intense like this all weekend. Yesterday's ATV racing, starting with the youth racing at 8 o'clock yesterday morning, just phenomenal. We went to the 10 o'clock race, the 1 o'clock race, the micro racing last night, and then today, Mikey Waynes, we started out, you know, a beautiful day. I mean, what a gorgeous sunrise coming up over the east. We got to look at here from the Seneca Highlands, and just looking at that beauty that we were faced with this morning, and that, I think, supercharged everybody in that 8 o'clock youth race today.
Yeah, I did, and we had a battle. The name, everybody, remember this name, Zachary Davidson, because I'm telling you, you're going to hear it for quite a while, and Peyton Whitke. And those two guys have been duking it out all season long, and coming into today's race, Peyton got the whole shot. After 1, it was Davidson. 2, it was Whitke. 3, it was Davidson. 4, it was Whitke. And then finally, Davidson pulled away, but then I was watching the times, and it's kind of like watching the pro races. You sort of play with the times and say, okay, if they keep that pace, by the end of this one, they're going to come through handlebar to handlebar, and that is just about how it was this morning. Zachary Davidson came in, and right behind him on his rear wheel was Peyton Whitke, and that was how it finished. But, you know, hats off to those guys. They've been entertaining the GNCC Racing Nation all season, and out of the Super Mini Junior class, Mike Beeler Jr. just continues to run away with that one. He got 3rd on the podium today.
I tell you, it's a lot of fun to listen to the race call. I was listening earlier this morning, and each lap that went by, man, your excitement level raised higher and higher and higher. By the time you got over to the podium, man, I thought you were floating, man, because I mean that
might have been.
The racing was that good today, and it's been like that. The 10 o'clock race was like that today, and what we've seen so far of this 3-hour race, the 1 o'clock race today, I think it has been phenomenal. A lot of things that we didn't necessarily expect to happen happening today, and but the great thing about GNCC, you can never really expect anything. It's always different. I mean, yeah, you might have one guy that's going to win a whole bunch of races, but what's really cool, on any given day, you can come out to a racetrack, and that's not what happens, man. Yeah. I mean, and it's like that often. Even though Caleb might win a lot of the races, it's not like he goes out and totally dominates every race. It's exciting right from the drop of the green flag to the flying of the checkers that day. That's what I like about GNCC, too.
You're right, and watching the youth come up through, like you guys talked about, Mikey, and it's one of those things that once they come through that spot of learning how to race, and they're excited to watch, and I'm out there cheering, and you can just see obviously the mini versions of the Caleb Russells, Ryan Sipes, and, you know, Thad DeVols that are coming, because they are great racers. I'm always impressed how fit and fast they are as kids.
Well, as we check in and VP Fuels Pro Row, we await the arrival of our current leaders, Duval, Sipes, Baylor, up to a 3rd place position, Josh Strang in 4th, and Josh Toth in 5th. And there's something, you know, I know during the interview, Stu didn't say anything about Epstein-Barr, but he did talk about the other problems and ailments that he was having. And I have to wonder, man, I mean, is this pretty amazing, the feat that Stu is being able to achieve here today? I mean, I know Mikey and I are pretty impressed, but you, from an athletic standpoint, you've known people that have dealt with these kind of issues and things in the past. I mean, is this something that should warrant awesomeness? I mean, this is pretty cool. I mean, from my standpoint, I think he's making some pretty big strides out here today.
Oh, absolutely, without a doubt. I think it's one of those things you don't usually get over something like that very quickly at all. It could be a month, 2 months, 3 months, depending on what's really going on with the body. So if he has, you know, that, and he's moving forward this quickly, it's a freak of nature. I mean, I know he's one of the most determined riders in pain.
He is a freak of nature.
He doesn't have time for pain, you know. I mean, he's the only guy that can really ride strongly with a broken collarbone a few days before that he has plated. So his mental toughness and physical, there's no question. So I think he just mentally and physically toughs it out, and that's got to be what he's doing through this, because that's a big deal to come out of it that quickly and to be bounced back.
Yeah, and you know, I don't necessarily expect that he is completely out of it, but to be able to push the limits is just impressive. I mean, to say the least. I think that's probably the best word that I can say, impressive. And I mean, it's just impressive to see him rebound after that. Just some 2 weeks ago, a little over 2 weeks ago, he's just getting out of the hospital from that bacterial infection and stuff. So that all is impressive to me. But good stuff out here today, and the stories just keep being told and keep growing here in GNCC. the Duvall, the Ryan Sipes, the Baylor, Josh Strang, man, I mean, he's got a great story going on right now. And Josh Toth's story coming out of the New England, part of the Trail Jesters over there, man. I mean, he has been a true exciting element, a new element to GNCC. You know, we are accustomed, I mean, we got to a point, you remember it, man, we got to a point where we had to basically start creating our own off-road champions because that's what it was taking, man. I mean, to get where we are now, that's what the youth championship brought us to where we are in the XC1 Pro class here today. And, you know, those are the types of things that we always kind of work forward to and try to work on. And to me, I think, you know, seeing someone like Josh Toth come in that we didn't watch grow up through the ranks like that, it's kind of a surprise, and it's kind of enlightening to see that you don't have to grow up through the ranks to be a top GNCC star.
Yeah, that's really interesting you say that, because one of the other SHR riders, and Josh was here, and Ben and everybody having fun for a few days with me, he had mentioned to him, he said, hey, keep your chin up, and he's a fast 250A rider, and he said, you know, the best I ever did in a 250A class was 4th at GNCC. So last year he came in XC2, you know, was, 10th, 15th, and got up to 5th and got some confidence and realized, wow, I can come in. And all of us, obviously, myself included, were blown away that
Who's this guy?
Ben Kelly and a Josh Toth come out of J-Day in New England and the Trail Jesters and just rock everybody's world.
Wow. I thought it was just a fluke,
awesome.
man. I thought those guys just happened to have one good weekend one weekend, and then they backed it up, and then they backed it up, and then I'm like, okay, these guys are the real deal right here.
Yeah. Well, and their deal is they're so good because of New England in the mud, in the ruts, and the rocks, and gnarly stuff. So if you're already mentally and physically tough, that's 90% of GNCC racing. Not saying you don't have to be fast and fit and all the other stuff you do, but that's like most riders' worst time, and that's their best time. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
That's where they thrive. So once it's a good race, then sometimes you have to be good in the fast stuff and other stuff and get accustomed, but they're learning the game and they're learning how long 3 hours is, so it's awesome.
Working on win number 5 for his career, Thad Duvall right now, and looking to post another 30 points on the points charts there to bring him up to 156. How close will that bring him to Caleb Russell? All that's going to hinge on where Caleb ends up finishing today, if Thad is able to take the win. And as we take a look at the situation, we are less than 6 minutes or so away, around 5-6 minutes before we expect to see Thad Duvall carrying this head full of steam right straight into the finish line, to the checker flag, and his second consecutive win in 2017 here in the GNCC. And if you look at the big picture, his 3rd national win in as many races. So, I mean, Thad Duvall is on a major roll right now as he rolls here through New York in this Seneca Highlands out here. What a beautiful, beautiful place, as Thad Duvall has claimed it as his own today.
I think it's actually 4, Rodney. I'm trying to count them in my head. So he won the Indiana GNCC, then he won the 3-day sprint enduro, and then he also won the national enduro, and then he'll win this.
Well, all righty. So this will be
that 3-day.
That's 4. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah. So there's Ryan there, but I think that's amazing, and that just proves that momentum and your mental ability to feel like I've arrived and put it all together. Then it gives you that extra 10% knowing.
All right. Big question here is now, where does that weigh in for Caleb Russell? I'm not saying that his confidence is waning any, but when you've got that was already at the level he is, and now he's got the confidence, will these guys start to even out a little bit heading into the next round? Man, Snowshoe's going to be crazy.
Oh, wow.
And then the John Penton, I mean, because you've got both those guys. I mean, well, Thad does well at Snowshoe, and John Penton's another racetrack that's kind of close to his house, so he's going kind of close back-to-back. And same thing for Caleb Russell. He's kind of a West Virginian, too. They love him. They've adopted him there. He lived several years in West Virginia. He also comes from Ohio, the John Penton GNCC. Those next 2 rounds, man, I mean, from a fan standpoint, it's going to be tough to know who you're going to be cheering for, I think.
I think it's going to be a battle, and, especially coming out of those 2, if you always think about the summer break, when you come out of it, you're either mad as a hornet or you're happy. And I think one of those guys, they both want it really bad this year, so it's going to be an interesting battle. Both are absolutely pinning it and great riders and have all the keys to the kingdom as far as the mental, the physical, the speed, putting it all together, having race pace. So it should be a great battle. I think it'd be exciting.
working on this 7th and final lap, some 3.5 minutes out from when we expect once again Thad Duvall to come through the finish line for those checkers. On a 1-minute-and-8-second lead over Ryan Sipes at the end of lap number 6, who had a 42-second lead over Stu Baylor. I'm not sure where Stu is looking at. He was a little bit faster. Well, he did gain 10 seconds. He gained 10 seconds on Ryan Sipes, so it went down from like a 52 to 42 now. So we are looking at this moment, wondering how much time Stu Baylor can gain in this final lap of racing. And I haven't seen, I think we calculated, seen him once. It looked like that he was closing up the gap, but I'm not sure if that continues to be the case now or not. But, man, we still got a lot of things to pan out here before it's all said and done. I mean, like we say, Duvall, Sipes, Baylor, Strang still in it for a top 3 overall. And I think that, you know, given the right circumstances, Josh Toth is not completely out of it for an overall top 3 at this point either.
Good point. Absolutely. It's not over till it's over, and one lapper or one wrong line can add another 5, 10, 15 seconds to your time. So I think maybe it is going to be close between them all.
It is, and crazier things have happened. There's no doubt. I mean, he is within a minute or so of a podium position finish, and though a minute sounds like a lot, last lap, guy gets stuck, loses 70 seconds because he can't get undone. All of a sudden, that means a whole lot. I mean, it just tightens back up and actually maybe even get around. So don't count out Josh Toth just yet, my friends, because that's still a possibility that he could find a podium position finish before this day is all said and done. There's Josh Strang making his way around as well, the 114. He is 4th place in this XC1 Pro class, as well as overall. Behind him, we watch, and is this Toth coming through? This should be Toth coming through if that was him. No, that's not Toth in that particular position. Is that Russell back there? No. I have such a tough time. There's a lot of washout on those numbers. I just seen white number plates.
Yeah.
I hope you guys can see it a little better than I can.
It's a little tough to see, you're right.
Yeah,
especially panning that fast.
Yeah, the way the sun, these poor camera guys out there, man, they're looking at sun and clouds. It gets a little darker, and it's hard to switch those things on the fly, but hopefully they'll get a little better about that, and we'll be able to see those numbers a little better in the future.
They do an amazing job.
Oh, they do. Man, the things that we have learned over the past 4 or 5 years doing RacerTV.com, the technology that we've tinkered with and perfected and done things with that's not supposed to be possible. I mean, to be honest with you, folks, I think Dan Reinhardt and all the guys behind the scenes at RacerTV deserve a big pat on the back, and you can even congratulate them, say thanks to them, and make sure you follow us on RacerTV's Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at RacerTV. On Instagram and on Twitter and also on Facebook, we're RacerTV. So, you know, join on in the social media craze out there and follow along with us. And if you get a chance, tell Dan and those boys thanks for making things so good and the dedication that they put to making this all work over the course of the last few years.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's great, finally, that there's so much more effort in it when there's a sport like this, like GNCC, to get the cameras in all the spots and get the right shots and get it all. And you all at RacerTV.com have done unbelievable work, so I'm very impressed. Wish we had it back when I was racing. I would like to learn a little more and see what my competition was doing.
There you go.
And you see their tongue sticking out more often on the last lap. But I know they're tighter more than I can tell from the back of their helmet.
There you go. Maybe it's some mental inspiration for the next round of racing. And there is Thad Duvall, my friends, on his way home to another historical ride. This one, his 2nd consecutive win. His 5th career GNCC win, and I'll tell you, folks, it'll be the first time he's ever done it back-to-back. He's getting the momentum, he's getting the heart, he's getting the drive, and he's certainly got the confidence as he rounds these final few turns. Your Dunlop Tomahawk GNCC champion, Thad Duvall, as he takes the big win, and the crowd goes wild. We see Miss Maggie down here, his newlywed, just super excited right now as they try to get the water onto Thad and into Thad at this point. You know that he has got to be super heated up right now, and just watching his body language right now, he honestly doesn't seem to be too over the edge, or hasn't even taken his helmet off yet to try and cool down. That says a lot about his conditioning at this point.
Yeah, you're right, Rodney. He looks good. We can see him here from looking out from the easy up, as well as looks like he's not that, collapsing and falling over.
Oh,
like
no, look at the smile on that boy's face.
Yeah, it's awesome. He's definitely been doing the homework, it looks like, and excited to have that second win in a row.
Well, there you go. It might not have been the one-on-one face-off that he was looking for with Caleb Russell, but what it was his second race win in a row. What it was is him chipping away at that points lead that Caleb Russell has right now, and going to make it super exciting heading into the Snowshoe GNCC. There is our second place, Ryan Sipes checking in, and Stu Baylor will be checking in here momentarily as well, or at least our third place ride. Ryan Sipes, again, just got to commend this rider, and again, starting to see him rise back up to full potential right at the right time. That win at the 125 Classic there at Colorado last week, giving him the boost of confidence he obviously was needing. Back to the fun side of things. This had to be fun for him. If he can keep that element of fun rolling into the ISDE lookout world, here we come.
You're right. I think, as we both know, it's all about having fun and keeping that balance, because sometimes you make it a job. You want to win so bad, it's hard to be detached from the outcome. You put your whole life and soul into it, and, you know, great job to Ryan, and it looks like he, you know, had a fantastic day, and he's a great guy. You know, we enjoy him as a good friend of our family and his family, and you know, he works hard, and just like all these guys, he's just a great, you know, person, so it's fun to see.
Does he have a goatee and mustache, or is that mud?
Both.
Is it? Okay.
Yep.
I hadn't seen him in a while, so I wasn't real sure. Here comes Stu Baylor now, and how about it for this guy right here? I think that the race fans have got to be as excited for this guy, even though it's not a win, man. Stu Baylor coming back from adversity and still able to finish on the podium. Putting it into perspective, 7 rounds in, he's been on the podium 6 of the 7 rounds. Last time he had to be hauled away to the hospital, spent about 4 or 5 days in the hospital doing so. So this is saying a lot about Stu Baylor and what 2017 is for him.
Yeah, you're right. Absolutely, Rodney. I think one of those things that, you know, it just proves that one of the deals with any rider, once they get that confidence and get it going, and it starts with a whole, you know, team around him of successful people. But you can tell Stu's, you know, a different rider this year. He's got the different mindset. He's been pushing hard. He's training hard, and it shows. You know, you can't fake fitness and speed, and they've just been absolutely killing it, which is good to see. And he's already always mentally tough. So physically, there's Ryan. Thumbs up over there.
Yeah, Ryan smiling big at you, Steve, and talking with Thad there, it looks like. And I love Thad's tattoo. It says "Believe." Believe. Nice. And that's what he's doing. You know, I mean, you take into account someone that we expected, I'm just going to say it, 8 years ago to be the man. I mean, we saw him coming through the ranks. You probably thought as much as I did. Thad Duvall's going to be the kid. He's going to be the one that is going to be tough to beat. And then things just didn't work out. And, you know, it just seemed like he was just kind of back there. Good rider, above mediocre, obviously. But, man, something really happening in the last few years, last couple especially, that has just turned it on. And this year especially, it's a whole different world out there. Josh Strang making his way in, I believe, there as he will take the 4th place position. Another outstanding finish for him. So we got Duvall, Sipes, and Baylor. They're going to be going to the podium. 1 minute and 9 seconds between first and second. 1 minute and 9 seconds between second and third. So that was pretty consistent there. Josh Strang was 1 minute and 24 seconds back in the 4th place position. Right now, we wait on Josh Toth to see whether or not he's going to best any of those guys and end up in a higher position. But physically on the track, last time around, the number 206 of Toth was that physically on the track and on time adjustments. So now we just basically wait to see if that's the way it's all going to pan out. That would have put Caleb Russell in 6th. I don't know. Caleb had about 2.5 minutes to spare there over the other rider.
I think this is Josh right here coming in. So,
all right, so we'll know more about this as this rider checks into the scoring barrels. And that is Josh Toth. He takes 5th place overall and the win here in the XC2 250 Pro class. That, I think, is 6 out of 7 race wins so far this season. Heading into the X Factor, he was undefeated. Obviously, came up a little short, I think, for the overall or for the class win there. But he's back to his winning ways here today. And, again, man, I mean, it's almost like he didn't even miss a beat back there in the mud. It's almost like that didn't even exist as far as he's concerned in his realm.
Yeah, you know, mental confidence and physical is such a big thing, and like you said, he'd won them all to that point. I think, obviously, it's, you know, in the mud, we all know a lot of things can happen, but I know behind the scenes and obviously training him and working with him and talking with him all the time, he's ready for a vengeance, you know, about 5 minutes after the last race. So it's been a few weeks to get this one to get here, and I know it was never fast enough, but he's been ramped up and charged up to get back to not let anybody get any momentum, as well as he knows he can do it now, and he's doing the homework. So it's fun to watch.
Well, when this one started out earlier today, Josh Strang, I think, was one of the front runners out there, along with several other folks, and even Caleb Russell. Caleb Russell, eventually, we got word that he had broken his shifter. And what we got, a battle coming in for the... That's Caleb coming in now. So Caleb got word that he had a shifter problem, broke his shifter off out there on the first lap of racing. They were able to get that taken care of, and he quickly went from first back to third, and then back up to the #1 position for a little while. And then all of a sudden, things got all discombobulated. We saw him start to drop back. He came out one time with the fender flopping everywhere and broken off, and everybody scratching their head and wondering what's going on with KR. Well, I'll tell you what's going on with KR. He's doing everything he can to salvage that championship title. And like you said earlier today, it's days like today that championships are won, and Caleb could have gotten very easily frustrated on that first lap and just said the heck with it. And even at some point here after hitting that, he could have mentally just said the heck with it and dismissed it and walked away, but that's not what he did, my friends. He did what a true champion does. He went out, he finished this race with his head down, charging as hard as he could until those final checkers flew. He walks away with a 6th place overall position, losing some points, but at the same time still maintaining the point lead.
Yep. I mean, days like today, you just tough it out like Caleb did and get as many points as you can. And that's why he's been the 4-time champ, and he's got a good shot of a 5-time, even with riders that are capable, like we're seeing Thad come alive this season. It's one of those things.
Lane Michael just checked in on adjusted scores there. He moves in the 6th place overall. That drops Caleb back to 7th overall. But more importantly, Lane Michael gets that 2nd place position in the XC2 Pro class there. That's something that certainly is going to be good fuel for his fire and get him back on and mentally and physically into the realm that he needs to stay in. He seems like it doesn't take a whole lot to shake him up and shake him out of that. But once he can get himself, and now that he's found that he can get back up here, I wouldn't say that easily, but as easily as he has been able to do, that might be that confidence he's looking for. Maybe we'll see a different Lane Michael throughout the course of the rest of 2017.
I think so, too. I mean, it's always hard coming off the injury right out of the gate. When he came into South Carolina with a knee injury, he was kind of keeping quiet. Everybody knows about it now, but that's tough. It's a tough way to build your momentum when you know you're racing at 70%. So he's worked his way up, which is really impressive. Hopefully, we've got Ben Kelly coming in 3rd. I hope he's one of my riders, and he's been working really hard with coming off of a really, really bad broken wrist. So
I wondered where, because Ben had been kind of faded away a little bit there. I mean, I expected some more greater things out of him here in 2017. So that tells us a whole lot as to what's going on there with him. Now, if he checks in right now, he is looking at a 9th place overall at least. Grant Baylor just checked in the 8th place overall position, 6th in class, if you're wondering about that. But they score these guys for their overall numbers through the overall, so that's the important one as far as Grant's concerned. He wants a little higher up, but Grant's making some big changes this year, going from the NFAB and Pro Yamaha team to the KR4. Not only do you have a bike brand change, but a whole different program change out there, a whole different atmosphere change. So Grant seems to be honestly meshing well with that program, and I think honestly the early part of the year is not a true indication as to how well things are going for the 314 machine right now.
Yeah, I talked to him a little bit before the race this morning and walking around, and you know, I think it's one of those things, like you said, there's so many things that you change, and sometimes it takes a little time to mesh and get it going. He has had a win in the National Enduros early, and I think, you know, it just hadn't put it quite all together, and that's what we're talking about. But, you know, all these guys, when you get one good result, it changes your whole outlook in a heartbeat. So, you know, I think it's just one of those things. He gets one good race or one time up on the podium, I think it'll change how he rides and how he's thinking. It's, you know, you try about 10 times as hard when you're having a slump, if you will. And so a lot of times that makes it worse. So your slump's even longer, harder to get out of. But I think he's obviously got the speed and the potential with the right race, and you know, he'll put it back together. But it takes a little time sometimes.
Well, there he is. You see the 989. You see that cookie sticker on the front plate of Thad Duvall's bike there, the 133 One Tough Cookie. For those of you that are not aware, we lost Dale Cook, who was the KTM semi-transporter driver and a very integral part of GNCC. He'd been around for several years, and well, anyway, Cookie was in an accident. He was on his road biking on his bicycle, was hit by a car, fought the fight for a couple of days, but succumbed to his injuries, and we lost Cookie earlier, late last week, I guess it was, and we laid him to rest earlier this week in a fitting tribute. The KTM semi was there, the Husqvarna semi was there. It was pretty spectacular. A great, I think, send off to Cookie, and you know, he's truly missed here. There's no doubt about it. But I know that a lot of these guys are racing with him in their hearts. You see that sticker, One Tough Cookie. You see those hashtags out there. That's what they're referring to as Dale Cook, Cookie, as we affectionately knew him around the GNCC Racing Nation. And I hate to put a damper on it, but you know, just he is still thought about, and that's how tightly knit we are in this GNCC Racing Nation, man. We are a family, and we are affected by so very much. Well, once again, Thad Duvall takes the win. Ryan Sipes in second. Stu Baylor takes the third place position, and that is your podium, but so much more taking place behind that. Josh Strang-Strahlen, strong race there in fourth place. Josh Toth finished fifth place overall. Lane Michael from the XC2 class also sees himself finding some solid ground out there. Caleb Russell seeing that Tomahawk curse maybe come back to bite him for a third consecutive year, finishing up in seventh. Grant Baylor eighth, Ben Kelly ninth as he's checked in now for that third place position in the class. And Jordan Ashburn rounds out the top 10 overall. GNCC Live will continue in just a few moments. We'll have podium presentations. We'll get the full story and the full scoop from everyone. Stick around. It all comes to you right here on RacerTV.com.
We handle your races, your jumps, and your trails. Isn't it time you give your daily driver the same love? AMSOIL Signature Series Synthetic Motor Oil delivers 75% more engine protection against horsepower loss and wear than required by a leading industry standard. AMSOIL also offers a full family of dirt bike lubricants, giving you above and beyond fortification for your weekday and weekend vehicles. AMSOIL, devoted to protection.
As riders and racers, we understand the need to get quality parts, apparel, and accessories fast. We have the horsepower of multiple warehouses to make sure your gear, OEM parts, or accessories make it to your door quickly. Check out our easy-to-use website and experience customer service that takes the whole shot. RockyMountainHVMC.com. Get ready.
Here he is, Walker Fowler, Brand National Cross Country XC1 Pro Class Champion.
And welcome back to GNCC Live as we take a look at our top two, Thad Duvall and Ryan Sipes, hanging out in the shade under the Moose cool down zone right now as they are trying to get cooled off after this hot afternoon of racing at the Dunlop Tomahawk GNCC, and cooling down. And then we see Lane Michael hanging out in this and trying to find any shade that he can find right now. It was second in the XC2 250 Pro class there. These guys all just trying to get out of that direct sunlight. As we talked about the heat and conditions actually heating up quite a bit into the lower 80s, I think, here in the latter part of the race. That third hour of racing really putting these racers through the millstone, if you will, and through the grind. And it seems like they're all coming up, head up still, but wow, a little bit licked out there where we see Josh Strang, former GNCC champion, the 114. He himself, man, what a phenomenal ride for him today. Obviously, he would have liked to have gotten a win and a podium, but grand scheme of things in the big picture, he had a phenomenal ride here today in New York. And again, Josh Toth, we just can't blow this kid's horn enough, because this kid really has been so strong this year. Had some issues at the X Factor. Was the only race that he hasn't won the XC2 250 Pro class in yet, and that's pretty exciting. Steve Hatch down there, who was with me just a few moments ago, now down celebrating with the rest of the field as they are making their way down to the podium. There goes Thad Duvall now as he tries to inch his way through the crowd and this area of the finish region as they'll head down to the Maxis victory lane for the celebrations, and rightfully so. That guy right there deserves a celebration, even though you don't get a bottle of champagne or get one of the cool medallions or anything like that. This right here was a great day for Josh Strang, and I'm sure all the Josh Strang fans have got to be feeling that as well. Seen a lot of good consistency out of him. Anybody that did well today, especially when they come into it with some adverse conditions, if they still fared strong after this one, your rider is doing very well here in New York. Barry Hawk looks about as tired, I think, as the riders do out there, as that gentleman has been busy working all day long yesterday with the ATVs and his coastal race team, and out there again today. Several riders that he's been monitoring and keeping the pit boards for. So good job, Barry Hawk. And again, if you want to follow GNCC and social media to keep up to date with everything that's going on, remember, Instagram, these are all a little bit different, but Instagram is @_GNCC Racing. Twitter is @GNCC Racing. And of course, Facebook /GNCC Racing. We hope that you follow us on all forms of social media as we try to keep you informed and stay in the loop of things as much as possible. And it also gives you folks an opportunity to tag us and let us know what's going on in your world during your week in between the races. Making our way down, as we said, to victory lane here, as we'll be heading down with Mikey Waynes in just a couple moments to talk to Thad Duvall, who, wow, does it again, my friends, and starts out the right way today with that All Balls Racing Whole Shot Award and an extra $250. Let's head on down to the podium with Mikey Waynes and our top three.
Well, thank you, Rodney Tomlin. I am down here with Josh Strang, and, man, you are going home $250 richer thanks to All Balls Racing, man. Take the whole shot today. What happened after that, man?
Oh, it was a much better day today. We've had a few weeks off since the last race, and just been working on things and trying to get back to where I know I can get back to where I know I can be. And I think today was a step in the right direction. I kept the leaders inside there for, I guess, half the race, which compared to the first 4 races, what I've been doing is really, really promising. So I was happy with today. A little bit tired towards the end, maybe just not being able to ride the 3 hours as fast as I can before. So still a little work to do. 2 weeks, I think, and then we'll go again.
Feel like this is going to give you some momentum heading into Snowshoe in a couple weeks?
Yeah, I'd like to have some momentum going into that track. So it hasn't been good to me the last few years. I think I might head to Thad's and do a little practice, and then just come and have some fun there, and then and look forward to the jump in as well.
Well, good work, man. I know you got some sponsors out there you'd like to thank today.
Yeah, Rockstar Energy, Husqvarna Factory Racing. All the boys helped me out. Timmy, Blue, Tanner, Dave, my wife Cameron, she couldn't make it today, and all the fans, everyone else. Thanks.
There we go, everybody. Josh Strang. All right, and I think we'll jump right into our overall podium here. I tell you what, first and foremost, New York, give it up here for the top 3 riders out of the pro class today. And we'll get things underway here, man. Stu Baylor, are you growing the hair out to match a beard?
I'm growing it out for a mullet for Snowshoe.
That is the most exciting thing I've heard all day, man. I like it. I like it. Well, man, talk to us about this race. I know you kind of talked to Rodney prior to this one and talked about, I'm shooting for a top 5, but I don't want to settle for that. If it's there, I'm going to take it. How are you feeling after this one?
Now, that's a little bit off. I said if I have to settle for a top 5, that's where I'll be, but that wasn't the goal.
That was not the goal. That was not the goal. My correction, man. Well, hey, you're up here on the podium, so talk about this race today.
It was brutal, It was tough on me. Spent just a couple weeks ago, I spent all week in the hospital, so coming back from that, it's been tough. I've been wiped out. Haven't been able to hit the gym. I've ridden at the max an hour on my practice track. It's just it's been really tough the last couple weeks, but You know, I stopped riding a few days ago. No gym, nothing. Just trying to rest up for the weekend. And you know, even just pedaling the track this morning on a pedal assist, it wore me out. So I knew it was going to be tough. Got off to a decent start, put myself in a good position, and I was right behind Caleb, right in between him and Thad, and had a stick go in my wheel and start locking the bike down, and had to stop and kind of lost those guys. And then I looked, I saw somebody behind me, and I was like, damn, how'd I get in front of Thad? And it was Josh, and he called up, and he was pushing really hard, and we basically rode the whole race together. He'd gap out and then make a mistake. I'd catch him. You know, same thing with me. And you know, those guys were in a world of their own. Ryan and Thad rode a hell of a race. You know, Thad's on fire right now, and Ryan obviously killed it. I could see he was up front for quite a while, but I had nothing for those guys. It was a good day.
It's a good day, man, for sure. It's good to see you back up here. Do you feel like this is, you feel good after a 3-hour run today? Does that give you some momentum heading into West Virginia?
I feel like going to sleep.
Well, we're going to let you do that, man. Who are the sponsors and folks you want to thank today first?
SRT, KTM, Flex Bars, Kenda Tires, Shoei Helmets, CD, Liat, G2, Moto Seat, Ankle Savers, Fastway, all the guys that I'm forgetting out there, my girlfriend, my mechanic, my parents, everybody out there pointing lines, and God for keeping me safe.
There we go, everybody. Stu Baylor. All right, make my way down here. Man, Mr. Ryan Sipes, how's it feel to be up here, man? Good to see you back up here.
It's a relief. We started the season here, and then it's been one thing after another since then, just not able to do very good. So happy to be back up here, and happy to kind of do something for the team finally. They worked so hard and gave me such a good bike, and I've been blowing it. So I'm happy to be back up here.
I don't know about, I won't say blowing it. Those are your words, not mine. But I know you've had some ups and downs this season, some frustrations. So it's real good to see you up here, man, in the second place finish and running right up there in the front. So talk about this race today.
Yeah, you know, my goal was to just go out there and run at the front and run there as long as I could and kind of see what happened. And I was up there, you know, most of the day. Started good and didn't even know I was in the lead somehow. And they said, you know, plus 10, and I'm like, all right. And I kind of it seemed like I held that for about a lap and a half, and I got stuck behind some lappers over here, and those guys caught up. They were riding really good, and once they got around me, I mean, we were running a pretty good pace. It was really fun, but it was high speed. We were hauling, and got Caleb back, and I'm not sure what happened to him after that. I only heard him for a few more corners, and I never saw Thad again. He was pinning it, so just happy to be able to get it. The track was gnarly. It was super rough and super slick, and man, it's hot out there.
Well, good work, man. This got you feeling good heading into Snowshoe?
Yeah, looking forward to it. I'm actually racing High Point Motocross Pro Moto next weekend, so be a busy couple weeks, but it's gonna be fun.
All right, man. Well, who are the sponsors you want to thank out there today?
First of all, God for creating dirt bikes, because they're awesome, and Coastal Racing, Scott Kiger, Barry Hawk, TK, everybody for building me an awesome bike. Rockstar Energy, Husqvarna, Liat, Dragon Goggles, TM Design Works, Mika Metals, Bel-Ray, FMF, Maxxis Tires, everybody for, like I said, I got an awesome bike, and it deserves to be up here. It's a great bike, so I'm happy to get it up here.
There we go, everyone. Ryan Sipes. All right, and New York, put your hands together for first place winner today, Thad Duval. So, Thad, I don't have to tell you, you know this better than I do. What is this, like the 4th national race you've won since Indiana?
Yeah, I've been clicking them off, national enduros and these, and I won the full gas 3 days. So it's been a good last couple weeks, and man, it feels good to just keep it going.
It's so good to see you up here, man, and this is the back-to-back for the GNCC. The last one, it was a tough mutter. This one, different circumstance completely, and you got wins in both different scenarios.
Yeah, for sure. You know, it felt good to win in the mud, and it feels even better to win today. Yeah, I'm pretty worn out. I rode my heart out the last couple laps to get away, and I got that cushion, and then it was good from there. And man, the fans were crazy. It was like I was a New York native out there. it was awesome, and the bike worked really well all day, and just can't complain when you're winning.
Absolutely, man. And speaking of native, West Virginia's next.
Absolutely. It's it's a home race for me, and it's one race that I've never been able to win. I've almost won an XC2, and to get a win there would even mean even bigger for me.
Well, man, I think you've got all the momentum in the world. We'd love to see you do it. Who are the sponsors and folks you want to thank out there?
Rockstar Energy, Husqvarna, Fly Racing, CD Boost, Dunlop Dyers, WP, my boss Timmy, my mechanic Tanner, my mom and dad, my mom home watching, my wife, just everybody out there cheering me on today. Thanks.
There we go, everybody. Give it up for the first place guy, Mr. Thad Duval. And these guys hop off the bikes. I think you guys are a little tired. Maybe, just a little bit. And we'll get some photographs and get to the spoils of victory here. The champagne showers. Get it, Thad. As our three guys get together, race fans, give it up one more time for Stu Baylor, Ryan Sipes, and Thad Duval.
Well, it's a part of the program that I know these boys have been looking for all day long, and that's the champagne celebrations, as we always like to say. To the victor goes the spoils, and the spoils of GNCC, as we have learned over the years, are the sweet, sweet spray of champagne. And, of course, as we take a look at the Dunlop Tomahawk overall results, courtesy of Rocky Mountain Aid, TVMC.com. Again, Duval, Sipes, Baylor, Strang in fourth, Josh Toth is fifth, Lane Michael in sixth, Caleb Russell finishes seventh overall, Grant Baylor in eighth, Benjamin Kelly in ninth, and Jordan Ashburn rounds out the top 10. And looking down through that list of names, a whole host of former youth motorcycle pilots that started out like so many of the kids did at 8 o'clock this morning. And, of course, we had a chance to catch up with the racing action from earlier this morning.
So Zachary Davidson, man, after a rough X Factor, you're here in New York. You battled all day. Tell us about this win, man.
Yeah, I got off to a pretty good start and got to the lead pretty early and just put my head down, try and push to get some time. But Peyton and Matt Myers were right there with me the whole race. And me and Peyton ended up pulling away from everybody, and we just battled the whole race. And then two-car lap, I got some time on Peyton. We were going into the white flag, and before I started, my brakes were a little squishy, and I knew something was going to go wrong with them, and ended up losing them last lap. And everywhere out in this field, it was sketchy. I was using nothing but front brakes and downshift and hoping he wouldn't pass me. But it ended up being a really good race.
All right, back to you guys in the studio.
Well, to say the least, that was a very exciting race today. Zachary and Peyton Whipke going back and forth all day long. Great sportsmanship displayed amongst those two as they came off the racetrack this morning. And some may have even said that it could have quite likely been the most exciting race of the weekend. So congratulations to our youth riders to get this Sunday day of racing off and rolling the right way, and to be able to bring it to a culmination of what we have been able to witness here so far today. What an amazing day. What an amazing race there for all of our riders. Again, back-to-back wins for Thad Duval, and not only back-to-back, but that is his fourth consecutive national win. He took a win there 3 weeks ago in Peru, and then, of course, a national enduro, another national win, and then, of course, here we back it up, man. This guy has got to be extremely stoked about the way things are looking, and we, as the Americans fans, have got to be excited what this is starting to shape up like, looking toward the ISDE. Ryan Sipes back on the A game there today. I tell you, folks, we are in store for a great one. And, of course, as far as the overall wins, Caleb Russell still sits only 2 race wins away from tying Scott Summers. We thought that maybe he might be able to bring that to just 1 today. But nonetheless, that's the way the overall GNCC all-time wins on motorcycles are looking right now. Summers with 46. Caleb Russell with 44. Rodney Smith, who's here, is still today in the pits with Beta, 33 wins. Ed Lojack, we see him around a lot, a 9-time GNCC champion, 26 wins. And Fred Andrews, the great Freddie, is 25 wins. So pretty cool stuff, I think. And I like that we are able to show you these types of history and let you know where we are in this, what I've been deeming as a new era of GNCC racing. And I think that the new era is certainly being felt as we're watching a whole new wave of individuals working their way up through the ranks. We know that the youth ranks have really been filtering into the pro ranks for the last several years, but now, like on the ATV side of things, they have really gotten super exciting, and we are starting to see that field and depth of competition pool deepen so much more as time wears on. Speaking of the deep field of competition and competitive riders, we got that in the XC2 250 Pro class as well, and we got the top 3 on the podium with Mikey Waynes.
Well, thank you, Rodney. And real quick, before we get started, we're doing a special hole shot award here this afternoon, so we'll be looking for senior B rider Kelly Labored. I hope Labored. I don't know how to say your last name, man, but you're number 676 out of Tampa, Florida. We'll need you up here on the podium before this one's up. All right, so, hey, guys, give it up for the top 3 out of the XC2. We'll get things started here, man. Ben Kelly, this was just one heck of a race, man.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. Didn't have the best start, and my first 2 laps were a little bit slow, and I had a few crashes and stuff, but nothing crazy. And then finally got into a groove and just kept charging the whole race, but it was tough. Craig caught me on that last lap, so I had to push the whole way, and just happy to pull it off for 3rd.
Well, great work, man. Is this kind of is this going to be an indication of what we see the rest of the year?
I hope so. It's just it's been a struggle this year with my wrist and stuff, but it felt pretty good for like 2/3 of the race. Pretty much the whole time it started to get really sore and stiff, but not to where I couldn't push the whole way. So happy to be able to ride like I know I can.
Well, good work, man. Certainly it's a step in the right direction. Who are the sponsors and folks out there you want to thank today?
I want to thank my parents, Trail Jesters, KTM Racing, Loud Fuel Co., GTR Suspension, WP, FMF, Seat Concepts, Edelman's, Bulletproof Designs, P3 Carbon, IMS, Enduro Engineering, Magical Go-Go, and everyone else that helps me out. Thank you.
There we go. Give it up, everybody, for Ben Kelly. All right, Lane Michael, man, 2nd place finish today on the Coastal Racing Rig here. Talk about this race.
Yeah, it was okay. I got off to not so good start, but I was probably around mid-pack, and I just kind of tried to work my way real smooth. I mean, I didn't really try to force any issues, and I was riding all right. And then I pumped up a little bit, but I was actually able to catch, I think it was Jesse at the time, and then Josh was out front, and Josh kind of started pulling away a little bit, and then he must have made a little mistake, so I was able to get back on his rear tire for a lap, and then I think it was lap 3 or 4, he got a little gap on me, and then that was kind of it. I kind of just rode by myself all day. I mean, I was constantly losing a little bit of time, which wasn't fun, but that last lap I rode pretty good. I was pretty happy with how it felt into the race. I just kind of struggled at the midway point, but yeah, it's good to be back up here. I mean, it's been a tough year for me, just mentally staying in it. So to get back up here on a pretty tough track, and it feels pretty good.
Good work, man. Move in the right direction for sure. You feel like this is going to give you some momentum heading into the next round?
I mean, I guess so. I mean, I'm just going to take it round by round. I just need to, mentally be ready when that flag flies. So it definitely feels good to be back up here, but we still got to stay focused and just keep plugging away.
Absolutely, man. Well, who are the sponsors and people you'd like to thank today?
Definitely my dad for all the work he does on this bike, and then my girlfriend for all the support, and then got to thank Coastal Racing, Husqvarna, FMF, Bel-Ray, Answer, Garnet Boots, Maxxis Tires, the Churbies, IMS, you know, everybody that's on this motorcycle. You know, they help us get the job done, and you know, we couldn't do it without them. So thanks.
There we go, everybody. Second place today, Mr. Lane Michael. All right, man, Josh Toth. How about this one, man? You were battling out there well in the front, you know, just kind of flirting with some maybe a top overall, maybe?
Yeah, I was started off pretty smooth, which I haven't had all year, so I was just pushing the whole race to try to get in that overall podium, but I definitely faded a little bit at the end, getting real tired, and ended up at 4th or 5th, but yeah, I was pushing for that.
We were rooting you on, man. We thought it might happen. So is that kind of a goal for you this season? Is that something you got set up for yourself?
Absolutely. That's definitely want to make it on there before the year's over.
All right, man. Well, we'd love to see it. You said it right here on the podium, so there you go. That's all you. We'll talk about this one, man. You were out in front in this one, and this was your race today.
Yeah, like I said, I got out front pretty early, which is pretty rare for me. I usually start from the back of the pack and just pick my way up, but by the end of the first lap, I got into the lead, and I got a little tight, like lap 2 or 3, and then I started hearing Lane, and I saw him, so I was able to loosen up and just charge pretty much the whole race.
Well, great work, man. Who are the sponsors and people you want to thank out there today?
First, I got to thank my mechanic up here, Ryan, for all the work he's done and putting in for this year, and putting us on top of the box so much, and the whole NFAB and Pro Yamaha team. Steve Hatch Racing, been working with him a lot, and it's really paying off. Just everybody, MSR, CD Boots, 100%, Trophy Helmets, Kenda Tires, Seat Concepts, my mom and dad, and all my brothers and family for coming out and cheering me on, my whole team, my girlfriend, just everybody who's supporting me this year. I can't think of enough.
There we go, everybody. That is Josh Toth right there with the first in the XC2 class today. As they get together and get a quick snapshot. And we'll get the champagne on its way. And just a quick reminder, we are still looking for Senior B rider Kelly Labored, I hope. Right there, that's you? All right, we'll get you in just a moment.
Well, folks, once again, the celebrations continue in Max's victory lane, and Josh Toth pops the top on his bubbly, and of course the champagne flies down there for that one, and another great end to a race day for this young man. That is 6 out of 7 race wins so far here in 2017 as he is on his way to what likely looks to be an XC2 Pro Class Championship title, but still a long road to hoe. But Josh Toth is certainly on a great path there, no doubt about it. Speaking of great paths, GNCC likes to help out and send folks on the right path and show them that, hey, man, you can still do what you like to do and still be a good person at the same time. And, of course, what we do here at GNCC is go to the area a couple of days prior ahead of time, and oftentimes we have school visits where we go and promote a lot of different things, including, most importantly, positive thinking, teamwork, and, of course, anti-bullying. And we had the opportunity to go and meet and greet with Newfield Elementary, located close to where we are right now. It's 3 of our, well, actually, our top 3 finishers from yesterday on the podium, the XC2 Pro-Am class, was there for the school visit. The alma mater of Hunter Hart, who actually finished 3rd in the XC2 Pro-Am class last weekend. And they had the opportunity to go back to his home school and show the folks where he has gone with his career and show them all the positive things. It's a lot of good times and a lot of fun to see these kids' smiles on their faces, and I know that the participants always seem to come back with a whole lot of a great smiles and good stories after that. Speaking of good stories, we might have a little bit of a story coming out of this one as we go down for our XC2 Pro Hole Shot Award with Mikey Waynes again.
Well, thank you, Rodney. And, yeah, I'm down here with Chris Vendetti, man, going home here with $100 from Hot Cams. obviously great start for you. You got the whole shot, man. What went on from there?
Well, I got the whole shot, so that's always good. It makes you confident going into the woods. But I ended up just kind of clipping a tree, and I didn't even go down, but it busted my clutch lever off. And I went back and got it fixed. Went back out there, and I was pushing super hard to catch back up. I hit a boulder about fourth gear wide open, and it about sent me backwards and went down for a good tumble and was seeing stars and a little dazed. But I just pulled in, regrouped at the pit, and went back out, and I ended up throwing up on the last lap. So you have good days, bad days, and today was probably one of the worst days I've had all year.
Well, that's rough, man. Get you some liquids, get rehydrated. Who are the sponsors out there you want to thank?
Well, most importantly, I would like to thank my mom and dad. You know, they do everything, and if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be racing right now. You know, they do support me, and being 18, they don't have to do that anymore. And you know, I got to thank everybody from Bars Competition, Flow Motorsports, Fly Gear. I'm sorry, I'm just so tired after this race, but everybody, just big thanks.
Well, man, you earned this one. So, hey, thanks a lot, everyone. That is Chris Vendetti right there, $100 Whole Shot Award winner from Hot Cams. So coming up next is going to be the FMF XC3 podium. So we'll get those guys up here. So up here, first on the podium, we will get Hunter Neuwirth and Jason Thomas, center of the box. Do we have Jason? There he is. Max's flag in the way there. And then Mark Carresco Jr. All right, everybody give it up there for the top three out of the FMF XC3 class. We're going to get things started for you. You got a lot of hardware you're taking home. So Mark Carresco Jr., we'll let you get adjusted, man. Talk to us about the race today, man.
Started off a little slow. Can't win it on the first lap, and just knew I had to pick it up a little bit to catch the guys. I was caught up to Hunter, up to 29 seconds behind him, back from like 1:30, and kind of just fell off the map. I was out of shape, I guess. Got to work a little bit harder, got to get a little hungrier, and come out swinging snowshoe.
I like it. I like where your head's at, man. This was a hot one. So who are your sponsors and folks you want to thank out there today?
Big shout out to my dad and family. They're always supporting me big time. My daughter, Callie Rose, she's awesome. SRT Off-Road stepped it up big time this year. We got all kinds of awesome sponsors on the team. It's Kenda, Motul Oils, Flex Handlebars, IMS, O'Neill Gear, City Boots, Shoei Helmets, Shirai Batteries, Moto Seat, Recluse Clutches, TM Designs, HBD Graphics, Motivation Suspension, Bentley's KTM. There's tons of them out there. Moto Seat, DT1 Filters, Evans Coolant. And then anyone else that's helping, big thanks to everybody getting us here and keeping us safe and putting good parts on the bike.
I like it, man. Everyone give it up for third place finisher Mark Carresco Jr. All right, coming down here, getting some photos. Hunter Neuwirth, how are you? Wait. You need one more? Oh, okay, all right. Oof. I was worried. Okay. I didn't want to jump in there. So talk to us, man. FMF XC3 here, second place today.
Yeah, it was really fun. I've been sick in bed all week. I rode Friday for like 20 minutes, and that was about it. And yeah, I felt pretty good. I was just kind of like, just relax, don't do anything stupid, don't crash, stuff like that. But no, it turned out it was a lot of fun.
Well, I'd say it did turn out well, being sick all week, coming out here and capturing second, man. Well, who are the sponsors and folks you'd like to thank today?
First and foremost, the whole Care for Rocky Mountain ATV MC Husqvarna team, Moose Racing, AMSOIL, Hampton Fuel Co. From back home. He came down to the race with me and helps me out with the gas, and Ride On Moto in Virginia. Oh man, I'm not looking at my jersey again. I'm not doing it again. Just everyone that's been helping me out. RAP Suspension from back home helped me get the bikes dialed, and yeah, just everyone. It was really fun.
There we go, everyone. Give it up there for second place finisher today, Hunter Newworth. All right, Jason Thomas, man, you awake?
Yeah, just about, yeah.
Just about, man. Well, you earned this one. Pretty impressive race for you today.
Yeah, I got a good start, and I was just trying to get up in the overall as much as I could and started catching XC2 guys, and then, yeah, I know, the 2-lap board came out, and I was completely done, completely exhausted, so I don't know if it's with all the traveling over the last week and stuff, but yeah, I was spent for sure, and came in, and I guess these guys didn't need to do the extra last lap, so yeah, I mean, I'm not feeling 100% right now, so it's hard to be excited about it, but it's another win and step close to the championship, which is what I'm aiming for, so I'm happy about that.
Well, great work, man. We'll keep it brief for you then. Who are the sponsors and folks out there you'd like to thank today?
Yeah, Palmer Motorsports, Maxis, Stillwell Performance, ProX, Wiseco, Moose, Evans Coolant, Carb Sport, DT1, Spectra Oil, TCX Boots, and the Costas for pitting me, and all the other sponsors. Thank you.
There we go, everybody. Jason Thomas taking the first place win today. Jason, are you going to do some champagne showers? I'll hold your bike. Absolutely, brother. You earned them champagne showers. I got this. You get that. Might add, too, that Jason Thomas is also going down home with $100, a whole shot award from Wiseco. The spoils of victory. The spoils of victory. Getting some laughs with Kenny Hill. So that's going to do it here down at the podium. Oh, Kenny Hill's going to get a picture.
All righty. Thanks a lot, Mikey Waynes, and congratulations to all of our podium finishers today, and congratulations to you, Jason, on another win here in the XC3 125 class brought to you by your friends at FMF. Congratulations to Thad Duvall on his second consecutive GNCC overall win here in 2017, setting the stage for the Snowshoe GNCC coming up in 2 weeks, my friends. I'm telling you, it is going to be an amazing race, and one that you're not going to want to miss. If you can't make it to Snowshoe Mountain, which we encourage you to do so, make sure you tune in to RacerTV.com, because we'll bring you all the coverage right here, the best that we can. That's going to wrap up things here from the Dunlop Tomahawk GNCC. I want to say thanks to Dunlop Tires and all the great sponsors that help make it possible, including all of us here at RacerTV.com and my co-host today, Mr. Mikey Waynes, along with Johnny Gallagher and, of course, Steve Hatch. On behalf of all of us here at RacerTV.com, good day, everybody.